Hello, 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 everybody. Can y'all hear me? If you can hear me, please put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Okay? Chat, if you can hear me, let me. There we go. How's everybody doing? Let me see what y'all can talk. One, okay. I see some ones. Alrighty. Thank y'all. Yeah. All right, here we go. I don't know what was going on with my computer, but anyway, y'all, I had to run and go get me a monster because I'm tired, okay? But anyway, that is neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Welcome to episode 6 of Girl Talk. I had to think about it. Episode 6 of Girl Talk, and I'm so freaking excited that I made it to 6 episodes, okay? And I have been enjoying every step of the way, every piece of this journey, and I'm looking forward. So listen, this episode this week, I wanted to do something different. I kind of took the idea to Envy, and I was like, I kind of want to do not a TED talk, because I think TED is like technology and something else discussion. That's not my forte, okay? But I just kind of wanted to have a roundtable talk, a panel style, or whatever, just to kind of break up the monotony or whatever. And he actually said that was a good idea. So here we are. So I have reached out to some ladies and I'm waiting on one other person to come, but I'm sure she will show up when she has a moment. But first, let me bring up my amazing panel of these women. They were each chosen and picked for specific reasons outside of the fact that I just enjoy their presence. Okay, I really, really do. Who is this? Okay, perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this first person that I am going to be bringing up, when I tell y'all, when I heard about her, and I actually heard her speak, she captivated my attention. And I can't even remember what she was talking about. I think she was having a conversation with Ness one day, and she was explaining something. And I was just so captivated by how articulate she was, how professional she was, and how she's able to put her thoughts together and make things make sense. So when I found out this individual had a channel, I had to go and subscribe to her. And I can hear this person talk every day, all day. And that is none other than MGO. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this panel with me, MGO. I am so honored that you are here. Next up, we have Soul Sister. This individual here, I don't know why. I just enjoy Soul Sister so much when she hits a panel because she hits a panel with intention. She doesn't hit panels just to take up space. She has something to say. So I have always been captivated and drawn to her as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this beauty up too. Thank you so much, Soul Sister, for agreeing to do this roundtable panel with me today. I am so appreciative. And last, well, not last, because we're still waiting on one other person, but for right now, the last person up here. What can I say about this individual? Listen, I was captivated to this individual. When I heard her sing it, it was something she was singing. I think it was Happy Birthday to somebody. And ever since then, I have I have enjoyed hearing this person talk. I enjoyed hearing this person sing. And it may be because I'm a Southern girl myself, and there's just something about women with Southern accents that just draws me in. So bring it to the stage, my girl, the one and only Charlie sending love, honey. Welcome, ladies. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. If I'm a little hype, it's because
See, that
yeah,
must have hit different. And when you was
yeah,
bringing up
this
Soul Sister,
monster
I was just
energy.
back there singing Soul Sister Go
Hey,
Sister,
sister,
better get
soul,
that dog.
sister,
Yes.
sister, soul, sister.
If I seem a little hype, it's because, honey, I just sat here and drunk a monster zero. Cause I'm tired. Okay, I'm tired. Yesterday I slept till about a little bit after 12 noon, and I'm normally up by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And today, I slept till after 12 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm
I
tired.
just sometimes we get a little more tired than normal. Like even today, me myself and I had to do D&D half asleep. I was like, Jesus, help
Okay.
me, Jesus, Jesus.
Absolutely. Let me say hey to these beautiful people in the chat. Let's see who we got. Who we got in here? Chakra King. I don't know how Chakra King is always the first in everybody's chat. Thank you so much for dropping down. We got Charlie, MGL Voodoo Queen. Hey, my love. I guess not MGL said, I guess we on CP time. That is too funny. Who else is in here? So good evening, Iron. Why? Good evening, boo. I don't know where these comments just disappeared to. Kimberly Black. Thank you so much, my love, for coming. The beautiful Brooke Valentine University. Hey, boo. Thank you for stopping by. And Yvonne. Hi, listen, Yvonne, you and Envy's banter, I promise. There's none like it. I absolutely love when y'all go back and forth. Yes, no. Do you guys know that their avatars are off? The avatars are off. Hold on. Let me see.
When I looked on the YouTube side, it shows that MGOs and Soul Sisters is. If they'll change it to something else and change it back real quick, it'll
Oh,
fix
I see
itself.
it. Okay, I see it.
Okay, let me try to see. Hmm. I don't really know how to change it though. I mean, I know how to change it way before you come in. You know, when you go
Huh?
in, and but once you're already on a panel, I'm not really sure how to. Okay, let me see. Edit avatar.
Hey, Soul Sister, can you edit your avatar for me? Because it's showing up gray on the YouTube app.
Did it? Did
Let
that
me
change
try.
anything?
Let me try. I never done this before.
Yeah. The what I did, Soul Sisters, I went to my name on the far right where it says you're in the show, and then I hit the edit from there. People in the chat, is it the same? It is still not showing at all?
Did it
Yeah.
update?
Let me refresh. Make sure.
Let
Oh,
me
it's
see.
still gray. Do you know how to add a picture?
Yeah, like a different one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Add a different picture, and then you can switch back to the one you have, and it should fix itself.
Righty, let's pick. Do, 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 do,
What?
do, 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 do.
I've had this happen to me multiple times when I use the same profile picture over and over and again. I don't know why it does that sometimes, but it
Does it?
Yeah.
does. It's weird.
Okay, let me just randomly pick something and then switch back.
Okay, it's not allowing me
Technology.
to switch a picture.
When you go to edit your avatar, and then so when you went in there and you saw your picture, it doesn't have the thing. Sometimes it for me it gave me an option to add one or two more. Yours full already? You already have enough. You already have three avatars in there. You might have to remove one.
Well, no, if she
No,
has another one, just switch to another one and then switch back. Like if you
it's
already
not
have
allowing.
like,
It's
It's not
acting up.
allowing me to do that. And I have to go out and come back in. That's what it. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay, no problem. You
okay.
need me to drop the link again in the chat for you, boo?
Yes, sweetheart.
No
And then
problem.
drop
Give
me.
me it. And drop you? Okay. Oh, yeah, let me do that.
Okay.
This.
All right, I'm about to drop the link for you, Soul Sister.
Okay.
We got this. We're going to figure it out.
Yes, 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 yes. All right, there
Okay.
you go, Soul Sister. It's there.
And so I attempted to change it to something else. I
It
don't know if it
just
worked.
popped up. It just did.
So
Yep, I
I'm
cool.
see
looking
hers
on the
popping
YouTube
up now.
I see
Mm-hmm.
it on the YouTube side now. For some
Perfect,
reason,
perfect.
now all you have to do MGO is when it does that to you, just switch between the two pictures.
Okay, I'll do that.
I
Thanks.
don't know why it does that sometimes.
Thanks for, I think it was Kimberly who let us know about that. I
Yes,
appreciate that.
thank you,
Thank
thank
you, Miss
you.
Kimberly.
No,
Thank
you
you,
didn't
thank
disturb the
you.
show. You let us know so that it'll better have better replay value. And then also for those of you watching, it's often not really, you know, aesthetically appealing to see all these just random gray circles. So it
Let's
was kind
see.
of you
Is
to
she
let us know.
back? Yes, thank you so much, Kimberly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb your show. No, 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 no. No, you didn't disturb anything.
And technical difficulties happen to everybody. Trust and believe that. I'm glad they got rid of that. Do y'all remember when they were having that issue with StreamYard to where it would like crickle and crackle and your sound would just get
Yes,
Oh
it's
weird.
my
weird.
gosh. I remember thinking that I got rid of a perfectly good pair of headphones because I thought that's what the issue
Oh
was. And it was
wow.
just StreamYard. And it was just, and I wasn't even hosting, it's just me as a listener.
Yeah, there was about a good, I think a good month or so that they were having that issue. I've had to end lives and
Okay.
totally restart them before because of that. And some people were saying refreshing would work. Sometimes it did. Other times it would not. If you remember Miss Jill's poetry competition, she worked so hard to make it perfect, and then it somewhere
There
right,
she goes.
and then it started messing up on her. I'm like, goodness gracious.
Let's see. Soul sister.
Yes, it's me.
All right. Let's see how we're looking on the YouTube.
She's back.
Yep, I see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Oh,
Thank you.
good. I'm glad.
Perfect. All right. How's everybody day going?
My day is going kind of slow.
It's going kind of slow. Why?
Well, I woke up late, and so
Yeah.
I was how you drag around because you don't
Yeah.
wake up on time, and
Okay.
so the rest of the day just dragged on.
Awesome. No problem. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. And hopefully Charity can join us when she has a moment. So, like I said, I always like to open up the show with this or that to kind of break the ice a little bit, okay? So I'm going to ask you, which do you prefer out of two? So let's go. Reading a book or audiobooks?
Reading.
Reading? Okay. Interesting. In 2026, reading? What about you,
I,
MGO?
Also reading.
Wow. Okay. Charlie?
I like reading because I like having that book in my hand. I love the smell of a new book. Ooh, baby, ain't nothing like it.
I must be the only weirdo that likes audiobooks.
My
I
husband loves audiobooks. Like he
love them.
devours them. I guess I guess I'm just used to having to see it and
Yeah,
visualize it in my head and all of that. But audiobooks are cool, but definitely I prefer to read.
I
definitely.
can I
Okay.
can actually hear the accents of the people, the characters, in my head as I'm reading. So it's going to be quite different than someone reading about the book out loud. So and then I like the feel of the characters. I like to see what they see. And then again, I'm a writer, so I guess that's it.
Okay. Okay. Now, what do you think? Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts?
And I give a third option. What about the coffee bean and tea leaf?
That's the actual place.
Yeah, it's a chain. Yeah, I prefer that to either
I'm
one
gonna
of
have
those.
to. And what's the name of it? Coffee bean and tea. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
find out what that is.
Yeah, the coffee bean and the tea leaf. It's in California. I think it might be in Arizona too. I don't know. Other people might be able to help me, but I prefer both of those to both Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. But
Okay.
if I had to pick one of those two, um, and like I think Dunkin' Donuts has better like the pastries. I think taste better.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. What about you, Charlie?
I'm with MGO on this. If I had to choose between the two, mainly I would say neither. I just want to make my stuff at home because I like it a certain way. But if I had to choose, it'd be Dunkin'.
Okay. What about you, Soul Sister?
Dunkin' is going to be my first choice if I'm driving and I need coffee.
Oh
That's
my
going to be my first
goodness.
choice.
I'm a Starbucks girly. Okay. All right. Would you rather talk on the phone or text?
Text all day.
Me too. I'm a texter. Okay. Text me. What about you, Charlie? Hey, Ken.
With me, it depends.
Okay.
If it's like a situation where I just need to text out something short, I
Uh-huh.
would rather text. But if I got to explain something and it's long, I ain't trying to text all that. I'd rather just talk to you about it.
Okay. What about you, Soul Sister?
Both. I
Both?
do both all the time.
I'm a both kind of girl too, but primarily I'm a texter. And to Charlie's point, if I have something really long that I want to say, I'm not gonna text it. We're gonna do this audio message, and you gonna hear what I got to say. That's just me. Okay.
Kim
One
put
more.
something in about
Uh-huh.
Tasties. Is that another chain of
I saw that.
I've
Taste.
never
That's
had
what I was
that.
trying to figure out.
I'd be interested in trying that.
We run on Dunkin's in Boston, baby. Now Wawa's has the best coffee. I ain't gonna even lie to you.
I want a Wawa so bad. I hear people talk about the Wawa all the time. I want one.
Now, if I had to choose between Wawa and Sheets, give me Sheets all day. Wawa's
Now,
is good.
now we
So
got sheets. We ain't got Wawa though.
can I
What?
shout out Shipley's Donuts too? They're pretty
Oh
good as
Now
yeah,
well.
I heard about Shipley's. I have heard about that.
baby, they shut down our Shipley's. I cried. You ain't. I cried. And now we got something called Shirley's Donuts or something. I don't know, but
Okay.
I miss Shipley so bad. We used to do like donut sales during school,
Mhm.
and you'd get a whole like dozen of donuts. Man, I didn't even have to do it. Most of my friends give me like they get 12, so they give me one or two. I'd end up with a whole big old case of donuts by the end of the day.
I'm not a donut person, but if you give me like what is it? I think Little Debbie sells them like coffee sticks or something. It's like
Ooh,
a
I
donut
like
that you eat with.
those.
I love them. I don't even have to have coffee with them. But let me ask you this, right? So I peeped in over at Envy's. I was a little late over there, right? And I want to say I heard him ask a question, and I kind of want to ask you ladies, since this is a ladies panel, to kind of get your point of view. Or I had to take a drink or something. And I want to say that he was talking about women standing up or defending men. What are your thoughts on that? We could start with Soul Sister.
See, I had to defend my husband a lot of times.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. So let me make it more specific. In lieu of what just recently transpired in the beef sector, what are your thoughts on women standing up and defending the men?
I wish they defended women as much as they defend the men.
I need you to stay out of my head, please. Okay. And what about you, Charlie?
I think also with this comes a thing of the way that he was asking. It's dependable, right, on the situation. Like with something just happened recently, there are times that I want to take care of it myself, right?
Mhm.
Where he was talking about that situation, and then there are other times where, like, with me standing up for my man, I'm gonna stand up here all day. And in the beef sector, it depends on the man, right? I'm not gonna stand up for somebody who I know is a known liar. I'm not gonna stand up for somebody and protect them, and they wouldn't do the same for me. But vice versa, if I knew it was somebody like, let's say, ODS, right? ODS would 100% do that if I knew he was in the right and he knew I was in the right, you know what I'm saying, would come to each other's defense. But if it was somebody who would throw me under the bus at the first opportunity, baby, I ain't
Mhm.
helping you. You gonna save yourself.
My. Okay. MGO, what are your thoughts?
Well, I guess it's to me it's kind of variable. Like I hear what both sisters were saying, like in terms of I guess to me, I think people's perception of what it means to stand up for a defend. Like, so to me, the right thing is the right thing, even if I like the person, if I despise the person. So if it's about clarifying accurate information, if it's about making sure a jacket is not placed on someone, if it's about providing context, I think that could be seen as standing up. And that could just be you making sure that everybody's on the same page and understands the different perspectives, even if you disagree with the perspective. But I also feel like, loyalty, you know, um, and caring for someone or wanting to go to bat for someone for different reasons shouldn't necessarily be gender based. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, that's a man. He can stand up for himself. I'm not going to stand up for him. Whatever. I think that if it's someone that you feel like you're in a position where you can where you can and you are willing to stand up for them, then why shouldn't you? I mean, I guess it depends. Now, if you're having this, if it's placing you in harm's way, it might not be the wisest choice. But I think the notion that we're damsels in distress and can't stand up for anybody, or is is a worrisome one.
I agree with MGO on that sentiment she just made. I wanted to touch on that because where she was talking about in the very beginning of, um, you know, loyalty, all those things, and she was talking about how it depends on the situation, right, at hand. But I don't think you should be made to be what is that they always say for the women who do stick up for men. They say you're
Male
man
Male
identified.
male
identified.
identified. I don't think that should be a thing. If the truth is the truth, stand in the truth. If they're lying, stand in a like. Even if you like or dislike the person, right? It does not matter. I wouldn't, and putting jackets on people, that is totally wrong. Nobody deserves that. Not without definite, like, I want court documents if you're going to try to put a jacket on somebody. Don't do that. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? But, like, to the point that I'm making is with 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 all these situations, it is dependable, it is a variable, but we should not be considered male identified because we're telling the truth or standing up for somebody because it is facts. I don't care if I like you or I don't like you. If you have not, like with this Goosey situation, I'm gonna throw this out there, right? I don't believe it was correct in putting that jacket on him whatsoever. He
Yeah.
did not deserve that. And the truth of the matter is, that's what he thought he saw, and he thought it was wrong, so he spoke on it. Now, has it been a little clarified from both sides? Yes. People, when they first saw it, a lot of people thought they saw one thing, but when you slow down the video, took a screenshot, it's something different. But either way, that should not have been the first thing that people went to, because that's not a word you throw around willy nilly. That's
Right.
not.
I
Our sister's
definitely agree.
comment about wishing that it was reciprocated for women, I thought was really interesting. I don't know if she wants to expand upon that.
Yes, you actually took the thought right out of my head because I did make a note of that. So, Soul Sister, can you go ahead and expound on that for me, please?
Well, ever since I've been in related to the B sector, I have realized that so many women are taken up for so many men. But if a woman does the exact same thing that a man does, they will dog her out for the rest of her term of being online. A man they will forgive, look over. It's like no big deal. He's just a guy. This is who he is. But if a woman does the exact same thing, she's less than dirt and can never recover from it. They will always remember what she did, no matter how many times she tried to redeem herself. I just wish that same energy that they go into protecting and babying and comforting and forgiving men, they do that with women. But that's not the way it is.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. And if we can kind of double back around to this male identified comment or statement, I just think that to me that is the weirdest thing you could say to somebody is that they're male identified. So now when people say that to me, my response is that you're absolutely right. I am male identified. Every time I stick my key in my mailbox, I'm identifying that that's my mail. You're absolutely right. I just think to call somebody male identified is so stupid. So is it male identified if you're sticking up for the male, whether right, wrong, or indifferent? But then if you're not sticking up for them, then what is that called? That's what I want to know. Like it's always a negative connotation when a woman wants to defend a man. Not and I feel like that stigma is put on women when they're defending a man not because they like the man, but because the man was actually right in that situation. So how is that considered male identified?
I don't think it is. So I think the problem with the way the word is used so loosely, I guess I have to, I guess preface this by saying, um, having not been around this sector as long as the rest of you, I don't have the context of where it came from, and it might be an accurate statement in some instances. But
Okay,
I've seen it used in ways that I don't think it's accurate. Because let me be clear, it is very true that there are women out there who are male identified, who think that
absolutely.
men should be paid more, that they'd prefer a male physician over a female one because they think he'll do a better job, et cetera. There are people who view that, and it is a problematic way of thinking. Just like there are people of color who promote white supremacy, even unintentionally. So that can happen. But like you said, if it's simply someone who just wants to say, no, this is inaccurate or whatever, I can't stand this person, but what you're saying is not what happened. Let me tell you what actually happened. And now you're all of a sudden portrayed as male identified. I think that's unfair, and I think that if I think the word and the connotation loses its value when it's just
Hmm.
thrown around for every little thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let me ask you all this. How do you feel about people that call other women male identified, but then they exhibit the same behaviors that they're pointing out in somebody else?
Hypocrite. That's hypocrisy at its finest. You
That
can't,
happens a lot.
yeah, like you can't sit there and say that someone else is something and you're doing the exact same thing. That's pot and kettle.
I can agree with that 100%. So now my question then becomes, okay, so if there's a such thing called male identified, then what do you call the men? Are they female identified? Because if that's the case, wouldn't that be considered like, isn't that like another way of calling them gay?
Well, not really, because not a lot of men are going to take up for women if it's a woman and a man scenario. They're not going to see the woman's side versus the man's side. Not a lot of them. Some may, but not a lot of them. They will always see the men's point of view.
Okay, okay. And Kimberly
I
Black,
have.
thank you so much for this right here. Kimberly Black said, male identified. Google source feminist critique used to describe a woman whose mindset favors the male gender, sometimes at the expense of other women, often prioritizing men's approval, right? So I really appreciate you taking the time to put that in the chat. Now, my question then becomes if we focus on the latter part of this statement, where'd it go? Mindset favors the male gender, sometimes at the expense of other women, often prioritizing men's approval. So if a woman is defending a man, how is that seeking a man's approval? How is that prioritizing men's approval? How is taking up for a man when he's right at the expense of other women? That's why I say sometimes, a lot of times over here, these terms that are being tossed to and fro, they're being used out of context.
And they're being
Yeah, but
used to
I've seen so many women.
silence people.
I've seen
Exactly.
so many women take up for men without even realizing if they were guilty or not. They just took it up because they either like him or he was a male, and
I can
they
agree with
will push the woman's point of view aside, such as he didn't really grape you, you wanted it. That's saying been going on for like centuries.
that.
Women had to protect their own selves since time began. So
I agree with that. And I just think and that example right there is one example that right there really, really grinds my gears. I hate that. I really, really hate that. Now, when it comes to, I'm sure you all heard the latest rumblings as to what's been going on, right? Because this right here is actually going to lead us into our first topic. As you all know, I put up a poll every week with 4 topics, and I allow you beautiful people to choose the 2 topics that you want to discuss. So this week, okay, the 4 topics, I just had this poll up on my phone. Okay, so this week, the topics that you all were able to choose from was handling conflict, vulnerability, goals, passions, and dreams, and authentic living and purpose. So the two, of course, that had the, the highest number of votes was handling conflict and goals, passions, and dreams. So this right here, this whole male identified defending a man thing, is going to kind of lead us into the whole handling conflict situation or topic rather. So, with that being said, so I'm sure you all know the intricacies of what happened as to why now a certain individual now is having this jacket placed on him for doing something that I think wasn't bad, right? I think it wasn't bad. So, my question to the panel and to the chat is this because I was having a conversation with someone about it. And my question is, why is what he did, and by he I do mean Goosey, why is what Goosey did being portrayed as something negative? When in actuality, me personally, I think that was his way of trying to not only protect the child, protect the mother, but protect the content creator that this was shown on. So why isn't now all of a sudden a jacket trying to be placed on him?
Or y'all are gonna be really mad at me, but it's been a
Okay.
very busy weekend, and if it's better, I may just sit this question out, but I don't really
No
fully know
problem.
exactly what happened. I just know that I
No
understand
problem.
there was something related to Goosey and Uppity, and I don't know,
Yeah.
a picture. I don't know, CPS. I don't even know what exactly happened. So,
Okay. So
um,
a quick
and
overview.
I don't know if anyone, if it would be problematic to summarize it. So if it would, we don't have to.
No, I don't mind summarizing it. So in essence, what happened was Lemon was live and I guess Uppity hit the link, and somehow or another, it went from Uppity hitting the link to now they're saying that the daughter, they saw the daughter laying on the floor, I guess in a pull up or a pamper and a shirt or something. I didn't see it, so I don't know. So then I'm assuming that Goosey said he sent it to two or three other female content creators just to confirm what he saw, and they all said that yeah, that's what we see too. Somehow or another, they ended up getting Lemon's attention. They brought it to his attention, and he took it down. Now they're saying because Goosey zoomed in on it, now they're putting this PDF jacket on him. I don't think it's right.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I don't think it's right because at the end of the day, I think, and I'm not a Goosey fan, I think he was coming from a place of,
Concern?
hey, this is what we just saw. You may want to handle this before it gets out of control. That's just my point of view. And then as I was sitting here thinking, I was also thinking, okay, well, maybe if okay, Goosey did it. Okay, cool, got it. But then my question then would be, why did it take for the man to notice it and not the other women to notice it? Because to my
So
understanding,
can I ask a
Sounded
follow up
sure,
question?
sure, go ahead, baby.
So she was on a video. I mean, on the she had her camera on. Her daughter showed up in the background. This was a screenshot that was taken.
I guess it was done live. They took
Okay, so they took
screenshots to
screenshots of the
prove it.
live of the daughter in the background,
Hmm.
um, and um, and shared it with other people. Were any of these pictures kind of redacted, like since the daughter was partially clothed, like?
It wasn't
Um,
shared amongst everybody, from what I understand. It was only shared amongst three other women so they can look and confirm that that's what they saw before he reached out to Lemon to let him know what was going on. And I agree with this comment right here. I just seen it right here. If it came from a lady, that would be fine, but a man, it's weird. Okay, okay. I can kind of see
but
where you're going with that.
Also,
a baby
once
in a
they
t-shirt and Pampers is kind of normal. A
Right
baby
now,
that is.
now here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? So VS went live, and that was one of her talking points. So I guess they ended up sending the screenshot to her, and she looked at it and she was just like, "This child is not in a diaper. This child like pants and like a nightshirt or something." So I'm like, okay, so all of this was behind pants and a nightshirt. Like, this is
even
crazy.
if she was in undergarments,
Hmm.
urinary and fecal incontinence is something that people struggle with for a variety of reasons. There could be anatomical issues with the, it could be due to the fact that the child has a developmental disability, that sometimes she isn't always able to articulate when she, since she's primarily non-speaking, when she needs to go to the restroom. Could be a variety of things. So even if she was in one, there are adults who are in them, and
That's
so
very true.
no.
That's
Not to
very, very
mention,
true.
sometimes children don't want to put on pajamas. If they
Yes.
at that age, you try to get them in the pajamas and they'll run around the house. No, no, no.
Yes.
Sometimes if they're tired and
Precisely.
you're like, forget it.
And she is
Go,
an
go.
autistic child, sensory wise, maybe
Yeah,
certain fabrics don't feel comfortable. And maybe she prefers when she's in the comfort of her own home not to be closed. That's where, however,
yeah.
as the parent, myself being autistic and having, two children on the spectrum and four other children who have various disabilities, that's where the parent, though, since you know your child likes to walk around in the butt, make sure that cameras aren't capturing your child.
Exactly. Now, the good thing about it is Uppity did come up and clarify that her daughter was not in a diaper or a pull up or whatever the case may be. So she did clarify that. And I'm glad she did, because had she just ignored it, I feel like that storyline would have ran its course, and just more and more stuff would have been compiled onto it. And before you know it, the story would have been completely different, right?
Oh, it was
But
Lemon
if
who
she
said
was in
the
one, I don't see why people should shame her for it because, again, there's lots of reasons why her daughter might have needed that type of support.
Exactly. And furthermore, the child was in her house. Like,
But
come on.
we're talking about uppities, so anything that they can get, they're going to make it more than what it is
Right.
because it's her.
Now,
True. She's given people just cause to think that, though.
okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I can respect that. Now, leading into the whole handling conflict thing comes from this. So, while he was at VS's, right? He was calling out people that was on the panel that I guess he sent this information to or seen it. He started calling out various content creators, and none of them really hit the link except Lemon hit the link. It was just like, no, this is what I saw, blah, 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 blah. So now people are running around talking about, oh, they didn't defend Goosey. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. Which is why I'm glad I heard Envy ask that question about, should women defend men, right? And so Goosey made a comment while at VS's and was just like, you know what? After this, I'm done. I'm done with the internet. I'm done with YouTube. I'm done with the beef sector. I'm gone. Just for him to drop and go hit Lemon's link. And we're just like, huh? What is this? And so, from what I understand, I don't know how true this portion is. I don't know how true this part is. But I did hear a couple of people say, he's upset at them because they didn't come to his defense. So, if that is the case, right? When it comes to handling conflict, I understand that there's a certain way that you handle conflict online versus how you handle it in real life. So, as women, how would you feel if someone that you thought you were cool with didn't come to your defense, didn't come to your aid, and now that could possibly cause some sort of tension in your YouTube ship, your online friendship, or whatever the case may be? How would you all handle that?
I think
I've
this
only had
also
two people come to my defense since I've been on here. One was the ex, and one was Victor, Vic. Those are the only
Okay.
two that came to my defense when
Okay.
a situation arose.
I will
Other than
say
that, I usually handle it myself.
I have had people come to my defense when I was right, but when I'm in the wrong, right? Or if I'm doing something wrong, then they tell me, you know what I'm saying? And that's where we as people sometimes have to, take it and run with it. Here's the thing. I think it's a dependable situation, just like variables, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this specific situation, if I had been there, and seen what had happened, obviously I learned about it after the fact, like you did, RMY, right? Then I would have jumped up there and said, no, that's not what happened. Because regardless of the situation, it's about what's right and what's wrong. To me, it doesn't matter if he's a man. I'm going to stick up for him, just like Miss Brooke did. She got up on that link and she stuck up for Goosey because she was there, right?
That was
Uh,
the other person. Thank you. It was
yeah,
Brooke.
yes, ma'am. It was Miss Brooke. And here's the thing: if you know for a fact that a person is not doing something like that, and that's not their intention, and their intention was not saying, say, "Oh my God," in his mind, he was like, "What is that child doing up there?" He was like, "You need to take this down because there's a child involved, right?" And to me, that's trying to protect the child. Like, "Oh my God, this shouldn't be online." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I would have been the first one to jump up on that panel and say, "Hey, no, 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 we're not going to put this jacket on him," because he was not looking at it that way. He was looking at it as, "Hey, this live needs to be taken down right now because a camera slip happened, there's a child present, and it looked like she may have been in her Pampers, and that should not be online.
Okay, okay. I can respect that. What about you, MGO?
I guess I agree with everything that's being stated, but I guess I also think that none of us know anyone's motive here.
Right.
So Letman has hundreds of people in his chat, in his live streams, and there are people who would have been happy to know of that timestamp so they could go in and view it, because there are likely, unfortunately, predators amongst us that we would never know of, you know. And so I think the bigger conversation is not. I think if someone identified something because it's an issue, it should be treated as such. Um, versus, oh, this person took a picture of this thing. This means that they were, were taking some type of gratification from it. I think that that's a stretch, to think that. And just the whole, and it just makes me wonder why people are so, unless there's some other context that I don't know about that would lead a person to, kind of leap to that conclusion. It just seems that that's where someone that's how someone would, what they would take from the situation. Just from me listening to it, it just seems odd that someone would think, oh, there was something more to what was
Mhm.
being done. Because if there was something more to it, why would you alert anyone at all? Why wouldn't you just snap the picture and then go pleasure yourself to it, or whatever?
Oh, I agree with her because, like she said, we don't know these people. We don't know what's in their mind or their hearts or what they do behind
That's
closed
true.
doors. And defending someone on something on someone you really don't know, you're taking a chance. Um, he may have seen something that he thought was inappropriate, or he
Mhm.
may have seen something that he thought that's where his mind and eyes went to first. We don't know. As a mother, if I was a mother, I may take offense. Why are you looking at my child like that? I'm just saying that's how I would probably look at it. Why are you looking at
Okay.
my child like that? My child is not bothering you. In the background, that's the first thing you see is my child. Yeah, I can understand people taking it and blowing it up.
Okay. I can respect that. Kimberly Black said motivation and intention is definitely needed for context and not content. Wow. I couldn't agree with that statement more. Definitely couldn't agree with that statement more. Can I get the link so I can go? Don't play no. Hush up. So when we talk handling conflict, MGO, what does that look like to you?
I think it depends. I think I've learned there are certain things that are triggers for me. Like, I
Okay.
am a person that's, my like, integrity is very important to me. And certain things, like, being falsely accused, those are things that for me have been difficult. And I, as a person myself, I was diagnosed with what they used to call PDD-NOS, or pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified, which is a form of autism, at the age of 7. um, but was not made aware of the diagnosis. And so all I knew was I was always different. I was always saying something that to me was perfectly acceptable to say, that other
Mhm.
people found odd, found,
Okay.
like I was being quote unquote too grown, or that wasn't a respectful thing to say, or the timing was bad, or it was too
Mhm.
much information, it was too long. And so I always found myself trying to explain myself. No, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean this. I didn't mean harm. I didn't mean to be rude. I didn't mean to be mean, and
Mhm.
over explaining to the point where I either felt like I had to over explain to make things clear, or just shut down and not talk at all to handle conflict. So just avoid conflict to handle conflict. And I don't think either of those approaches work. I think people need something that's more balanced. And I think now I recognize that in some ways conflict is unavoidable. Some conflict can be beneficial. Other sometimes conflict can be toxic, and it really just depends, I think, on the circumstances. Sometimes, is it even worth addressing the conflict? Is it going to be worth the energy, the time, the emotion? Should you just let it ride, or should you handle it in a way where you hopefully speak up for yourself, and and do the best you can to defend your name, but knowing you can't control the outcome?
Okay. All right. Charlie, what about you, baby?
Well, we
What does
know about.
handling conflict look to you?
I've had a few. I've literally put my foot in my mouth, and context does matter
Yes.
exactly in things because the way that I was saying something one time was not how it was perceived by some, but others knew what I meant, right? And because some people know my heart, know that I'm not a racist person whatsoever in my
Hmm.
heart. They know that the context of what I was saying was not that way, but it could be taken that way, correct? By
Correct.
anybody. And so, as you notice, I explained myself, apologize, move forward. That's all you can do with conflict. And if it's, you have to, like MGO said, you have to decide whether that conflict's even worth doing that for. Some conflicts are going to be up and stuck in for life, like in the beef sector, right? So if we do it to some other context, if somebody were to talk about my child or bother my child, it's on and popping for life. They ain't no resolving that conflict. I may move forward from them, and I may never speak to you again. Blah blah
Right.
blah,
Hmm.
blase. But I think every conflict it's situational. So when it there are some times with some things I'll shut down. I won't say anything because it's not worth giving my energy to. Other
Right.
things I'm willing to talk out, and we can either agree to disagree as adults, and if it's a conflict that I caused and I was the issue and I need to apologize, then I got to stand on business and stand in my ish, right? So each conflict depends on what happens within it. And some are worth giving your energy to.
Hmm.
Like, let's say me and you had a conflict, RY. I would
Okay.
come to you behind the scenes and want to speak to you as a person because I know you're, um, as a person, are approachable. I know
Hmm.
that me and you can work this out, that we're not above reproach, right? But let's say it's somebody who does not want to speak to me and never want to talk to me again, and it's a whole conflict. There's no use in it because no matter what you say, you're not going to change their mind. And so it's not worth your energy. And let's say some conflicts are are just, they're penny ante. They're not really worth fighting for.
I agree with that. Definitely agree. And Yvonne said, I believe Goosey thought he was being helpful. I don't believe Goosey had any creepy thoughts. It was unfair, in my opinion, to be targeted. Listen, I definitely agree with that 100%. And then Kimberly Black, which I am really enjoying your comments, Kimberly Black. Please keep them coming. I love them. Conflict resolution in the B sector is unconscionable. These sectors will become extinct. I agree. I agree. And then I think I heard Charlie mention something about context, or it may have been MGO. And it's funny you ladies mention that because I have been reading up on context versus pretext. And I think if people really understood the difference between the two, a lot of these situations happening. So that's just my little insert there. So, sister, what does handling conflict? How does that look to you, and what does that mean?
I worked in politics for 25 years. I've been handling it quite a many years on a
Hey,
daily basis.
Stacy, I didn't know you were in politics. Okay, cool. Nice to know.
I'm kind of used to it. I'm a fighter. I don't go down without a fight.
Okay, so if you're in politics, how does how does one successfully handle conflicts within politics? Because everything I'm seeing in politics, they don't be handling anything.
Well, see, you're looking at it from the upper level. I was in it from the lower level. So it
Right.
was just
Okay.
between both parties, so to speak. I worked for both parties actually. And I just do me. I speak what I feel, what I know is right, what
Hmm.
I know is wrong. Um, Most of the time, people don't agree, don't want to hear, rather me not say anything, but that's not who I am. So in politics, you just have to stand on your 2 feet and go with the punches.
I'm
Now,
If
so
you don't,
fascinated by
you end
what you're
up.
saying, soul sister, because I didn't know you were in politics either. Like, how did you
me
handle
either.
that internally? Like, because I know that there's the public facing way of addressing conflict, but how did you reconcile that within yourself?
My church.
Mm. Now that's
We
interesting. Your
would
church
we
helped you
we would
rectify it
have
internally.
Thursday night Bible study when I was studying to be baptized in my church. And every Thursday night, They would always want to know what happened now.
Okay.
So my priest gave me a pamphlet to read over and over and over about the conflicts of working for a company
Hmm.
that goes against every single thing you believe in, but you have to feed your family.
Right.
And so I kept that inside my heart and made sure that I wasn't going to change.
Okay. Okay. So now let me ask you this. Whether from a political standpoint, whether from real life, or whether from online, or whatever the case may be, is a conflict ever truly, really handled? And I say that because you can always forgive somebody, but you're not going to forget. So if you handle a conflict on one end, is it truly handled without them always kind of side eyeing you moving forward? Does that make sense?
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
They still side eye me. What am I going to do? Change.
All you could do as a person is move forward, right?
I
So
had to beg them to give me a retirement party.
Oh wow. Wow, okay. Well, what about like in your real life? Let's take politics off the table. In your real
Hmm.
life, when you handled conflict, how is it truly ever really handled? Because I'm gonna be honest, I have handled quite a few conflicts, right? And I'm talking about myself. Me and the person, we work things out, cool. But in the back of my mind, I'm always like, yeah, you did it before, so I'm just gonna be a little standoffish. Even though we resolved the issue, but that thought is still lingering in the back of my head. So my question is a conflict ever truly really handled?
I'm gonna
A
say
lot of
in my
times it's
mind,
up, I was going to say a lot of times it's up to God handling it. I mean, I had a conflict with someone that I wasn't going to ever talk to again. And then God pushed her inside my life where I had to be by her side until the day she died. Sometimes it's not up
Wow,
to us.
that's true. That's true. What about you, Charlie?
in my mind, it's situational, right? So if
Hmm.
the conflict wasn't the most terrible thing that's ever happened, it was very slight, right? You're easier to move forward from it because of the fact that it wasn't like crazy or nothing like that,
Hmm.
right? But if it is a conflict that is a heavy one, even if you move past it, let's say cheating,
Okay.
spouses, right?
Okay.
You even if you try, you move forward, you do not hold resentment, and you don't, keep doing that. It's still always going to be in the back of your mind. That will never go away. Such as someone stealing from you, right? And you have a conflict with them. Well, they pay you back. You move forward from it and you try to move on. It's always going to be there. There are certain conflicts, even if we resolve them, right, and we decide to move forward, they don't fully go away because, just like you said, you can forgive, but you can't forget that. The only ones that are truly resolved are, like I said, the penny ante ones that are not so conflicting that you eventually even forget about it for a while. Somebody has to remind you, hey, do you remember that time that I
Yes.
told you we was going down to the stove and I forgot and left you there for like 15 minutes and then you had to
Yes.
remind me I was late. See, that's the kind of conflict that you can resolve and it becomes a funny
Right.
story. But there are conflicts that can never fully be resolved. Even if you try your hardest, they're always going to be there because you can't forget them. The ones that you can
Okay.
forget or turn into a funny story or something in the long run. You remember how we met? You know what I'm saying? Some of those are
Uh-huh.
how we
Oh,
met
absolutely.
stories. And
Absolutely.
those
I
become
don't
funny
classify
moments.
cheating as a conflict. Cheating to me is a betrayal. Stealing from me
Mm.
is a betrayal. That's not a conflict. That's a betrayal. And it doesn't matter how much time went by, betrayal is always going to be betrayal. You betrayed me. Why should I give you
Okay.
a chance to do it again? It makes no sense to me. I mean, maybe other people do, but I don't. So I don't think that's a conflict. That's betrayal.
Well, the reason I see it as a conflict, because a conflict stands for anything that you have a disagreement on, right? No matter how small or
You
how
mean I
large.
disagree that you shouldn't cheat on me?
Technically, It would be a fight afterward, right? It would be. It would lead a conflict.
Yeah,
Usually
I
leads
kind
into
of
a verbal
disagree on
argument.
that one, baby. I'm sorry. You and I, we just, didn't see that one coming, sugar pie. But hey, to you,
Okay. Let me see. MGO, what about you, dear?
First, I really like all the comments that have been made, both here and in the chat. I think there's some great comments about
Hmm.
related to conflict here.
Yes.
That so I just think this is a really thoughtful discussion. But I guess
Thank
I
you.
think that in some ways, I think sometimes conflict can be almost like a self-limiting condition to where it's going to eventually run its course in some kind of way and resolve itself, either meaning you don't deal with each other anymore,
Hmm.
or you don't trust each other anymore, or you eventually have to talk it out, work it out, figure it out, whatever. But not, but even though that's the case, that doesn't mean that harm and damage hasn't been done in the, until it was resolved. And then in
Okay.
some cases, I agree with you all. Like the example you gave of you forgive, you've discussed it, worked through it, and moved on, but you kind of still have some, you know, maybe a bit of caution,
Hmm.
as a result of what happened. I think that that's actually healthy because you know what it's almost like when you are ill, the reason why they test for antibodies, even if we've only been ill with something one time, our body forms antibodies to protect us, so next time we can recognize it. First time they caught us slipping, next time they won't. There may never be a next time. We may never get the measles or whatever that is again, but the body remembers. And I think with conflict sometimes that doing that is just your mind and your heart's way of trying to protect yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't trust, but you are also just being careful.
Okay.
yeah, I
I
don't.
can respect
I
that.
don't trust. Once
I can
you've
respect
done
that.
something to me, I'm never going to trust you again, and I'm never going to forget it, and I'm never going to really speak to you again. Not in a tone that you would like me to.
No,
So
I definitely understand that. Kimberly said it depends on the type of conflict. If it's work related versus family related conflict, they are handled differently for me. Now,
Great
Kimberly,
point.
Yeah, I can agree with this one because here's the thing. I have a sister who is an
whew,
addict, right?
mhm,
Versus if let's say I had somebody at work steal from me versus my own sister. Okay, the betrayal of my sister doing it's going to hurt worse, but I'm
absolutely.
more likely to try to smooth it over with her because she is my family versus that work related person who means nothing to me. Right? I'm more likely to tell them I'm just going to write you off. It's the end of it. Right? That's the end
Right.
of it. That's the end of that conflict. But with the family situation, it becomes a, and I've had to deal with this with her, right, because of the situation until eventually it became too much and I had to cut her off. But for the longest time, I would always forgive her for things that I would not do for others.
Mm,
yeah, but you got to understand if it's let's say if it's a sister or a brother, you would know if they have any mental problem, whether it's drugs or alcohol or stress or something. So if they stole from you, you kind of understand the reasons why they did that versus someone of a coworker who went in
That you
your
don't
pocketbook
know.
and stole your wallet. Yeah, exactly. Then you got a problem that you need to resolve instantly, one way or another.
I think to build on that, even if you know they have a problem, you may not care because you might not have that
that's a
relationship with
good
them to
point.
where you're going to be as empathetic about. Okay, I know you have psychological issues or you have this or that and the other, but you're a casual acquaintance at work, and this is my sibling. So screw you. I don't want to deal with you anymore. You know what I mean? Even if I understand the situation, the person might not feel, you might not feel that you might still want to call HR or charge them up in the parking lot or whatever, whereas like the Charlie mentioned, it's your sister, you're probably not calling the police on her, because you know the
Right.
situation.
Mm. So let me
Oh,
ask
yeah.
you all this. Let me ask you all this. When it comes to trying to handle conflict, do you all agree or disagree to this? Ignoring a situation is a form of handling a conflict, or acting like it never happened is a form of handling it.
No.
Why?
My main reason why is because it's going to eat at you. if you do not handle it. If you now it's also situational, right? So ignoring something like a slick comment and you're not that close or something, it still may bother you a little bit, right?
Hmm.
But you can ignore it because you don't really care. But if it's somebody that you care about and they keep making slick comments and they keep doing these things that's picking at you and it's picking at your soul, no, because you're really thinking like it's starting to bother you. If it, you know what I'm saying, you're starting to think about it, and if you like try to ignore it and you can't, it ignoring it never is truly going to fully fix it because you're not telling the other person's not a mind reader, right? And they don't know what you're feeling. They don't know what they're doing is hurting you because you're not talking, you're not speaking. So sometimes ignoring it is not the best option. I would say most of the time. And that's my personal opinion because they don't know they've done something of a conflict to you. In their mind, they may not even see it that way. So you know, it comes back to communication is key.
Actually have
I
a
Yes, go
different
ahead.
thought. Sorry, Arnold, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead, hon. Go ahead. You can talk.
I was just going to say, Charlie, generally, I guess in theory, I do agree with that. But I think that there are some instances where you got to resort to pointed ignoring, where you have to use ignoring as an intentional strategy because you just have some ignorant fools that maybe you've tried to address it in a healthy, mature manner. You've tried to discuss it, and for whatever reason, these people are not capable or
Hmm.
willing. And for them, they just want to drag it out or use it to exacerbate things or whatever. And to where you basically need to not even acknowledge their foolishness because you're sending a message that they're not of relevant enough to continue to um, draw your attention.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
ignore the trolls. I would agree with that 100%. MGO. Ignore people who don't mean anything to you. If they mean nothing to you, and you've tried to talk to them, they don't want to hear it, or if you've wasted your breath, don't keep wasting your breath. Ignore those people. I'm talking more on my point was more towards people, you know, like that you actually care about, that you're
Oh,
building a
okay.
rapport and a
I see.
relationship with. Yeah, you don't want to ignore those conflicts because they'll turn into something more. But if it's somebody you don't care about, ignore game on 1000. Or if somebody's trying to pick at you online or
Hmm.
troll or ignore them every day, all day. Be on
Mm.
1000. You don't even see them. They don't exist.
Okay. Wow. I'm loving
Well,
the commentary and I'm loving you all's opinions and this chat. I love this. So Jasmine said exactly. If you still feel some type of way, it isn't resolved. It's not over. It will linger and attach to the next conflict that occurs between you and that person. So to that, let me ask you all this.
Oh, I
just
didn't
about to
know if
Oh,
Soul
ask you that.
Sister, Soul
go
Sister
ahead.
had a point. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Soul Sister. I am so
Well,
sorry.
I was going to say that I'm a Gemini, so it all depends on the day
Ah,
that it happens
okay.
in. If I'm in a good mood and it's really petty, I could
Hmm.
ignore it. If
Okay.
I'm having a bad day because I'm a bitch that day, I'm just going to not ignore it and I'm going to do some hurtful things to you because I'm a bad person that day. And I will make sure that our ties are cut completely. So it all
Mm,
depends on the day, the time, and the person.
okay. And that actually ties into what Jasmine just said down here. If I'm ignoring the conflict, chances are you're cut off 100%. That's actually, listen, the older I get, the more I'm getting
Hmm.
to that point right here. If I'm ignoring you, just know that's a wrap. We're good. We're good. Now, this right here is never, it will linger and attach to the next conflict that occurs between you and that person. So then my question to that becomes for me to completely, and I'm just saying me just hypothetically. So for me, if I choose to ignore it, because I know multiple conversations have been had, I know things have been tried and it just fails. So then at that moment, would ignoring it then be considered conflict resolution?
Girl, if you tried one time and it failed, that's it.
I can
You
agree
don't
with
give a
that.
person you don't give a person another chance and another chance. If you make your statement the first time and it doesn't resolve, move on, because that person is not mature enough to understand what you're trying to do.
I can agree with that.
Sometimes you have to take that step back and ignore for a minute. Um, with some people in some situations, right? It is better to just, as you would say, it would be conflict resolution to ignore and walk away because it's not worth wasting your time and your energy. If you've tried to explain to them, hey, what you're doing is hurting me. Hey,
Hmm.
I've tried to explain it to you every which way that I can, and you're not hearing me. They're not willing to hear you. See, there's a difference between listening and hearing, right?
Yes.
They hear the words that coming out your mouth. They ain't understanding. They ain't comprehending. They ain't listening to you. You know what I'm
That
saying?
reminds me of Rush Hour.
That's what I
Yeah,
was thinking too. Do you hear the words that are
But that are
coming
coming
out
out of
my
my
mouth?
mouth.
yeah. It goes on to that if you think about it. You're wasting your energy, your time, your
Yeah.
breath at that point. So what's the point? There is none. You might as well just cut your losses and move forward at that point because they're not willing to pay attention to what you're saying to them. Hey, this hurt me. Hey, I need, what you're doing is not okay.
Hmm.
But they keep doing it, that means they don't care. Because if they cared, they wouldn't keep doing it. When you make an apology or change behavior, or somebody's trying to tell you something and you're not listening to what they say, they're never going to listen. They're never going to change. They're going to keep staying in that same way. And you're putting yourself in a cycle of repeatance.
Listen, okay, and just like the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing that revolving door stuff. I ain't got the time or the patience for it. Now, Kimberly Black said, absolutely not. Ignoring a conflict is never advised by any psychiatrist or psychologist perspective. Don't ask me how. Well, how do you know? I'm just kidding. Don't answer that. don't a-
Yeah,
don't answer
people
that.
want to
Okay.
know now. Well, yesterday I was in Vic's chat
Mhm.
and he was showing a video of something. I've never seen it before. And so he
Okay.
said something, and I said, but I've never seen it before. So I asked him to stop talking while he was showing it because I couldn't hear what they were saying.
Mhm.
And somebody said, we all heard it before. And I said, but I've never heard it before. This guy happened to say to me, I was weird and something else, and I could have left it alone, except
Mm.
that I don't know how to do that. So, of course, I explained to him that that's not how you talk to me. And then he said, a lot of women on here don't deserve respect. Respect is earned. So I explained to him, you need to ask around. I deserve my respect. Ask
Okay.
Vic, ask anybody. I don't care who you ask. Just don't do that again.
Right.
So he came back a few minutes later. He said, I just want to have fun. In other
Yeah.
words,
Yeah.
he just want to watch the video and have fun. He didn't mean no harm. But yeah, sometimes you gotta nip it, you know? You don't let somebody just walk over you because they got a keyboard and want to talk. No,
Mm.
you can do that to
Because
some.
I got a
It's like
keyboard.
it's like the woman Heat, right? She came up to me one time, and I said to her, "I'm not Purazo. I'm not any of these people you mess around with. I'm not
Mhm.
on that level. Leave me alone."
Right.
And so, it's sometimes people assume that you're just like everybody else without realizing you're completely different.
Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, so what? Just not to get off topic. What was that video about? Hey, grown folks, welcome. What was the video about?
Nature boy.
That. Yeah, I tried to get into that, but 10 minutes into watching a video about it, I had to turn it off because I was getting
Well, the
so.
video was about him talking to a girl in a
See.
conversation. And I had not seen it before because I skip around Nature Boy stuff. I know some things about him, but not everything. Um, so I was interested in hearing the conversation going back between him and this young lady. And so that's why I wanted to hear it.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, that nature boy stuff definitely rubbed me the wrong way, and so I said, yeah, let me go ahead and close this and keep it moving. Okay, I had to go watch cooking videos after that because yeah, he's a weird one. He's a weird one. Let's see. Now on social media, yes, you can ignore the person or the people because you're not invested. Thank you. That part. Exactly. Exactly. You can ignore them because they're online. Now, I agree with that. So, but what, how can I say this? I'm
I don't
sure we
know.
all
Can
have
I say
witnessed,
something?
I'm sure we all have
Let me,
witnessed online conflict somehow trickling over into someone's real personal offline life. So in
Unfortunately. Yeah.
right. So in that instance, if that were to happen to any of you ladies or anybody in the chat, how would you deal with that in that moment?
It has happened to me.
It's happened to me too, unfortunately.
mm,
Really?
I've been doxxed. I had CPS show up to my house, all kind of things
mm,
because I let a person's victim speak out. Because I did not okay their racist and bad behavior of bothering people and doing bad things. You know what I'm saying? And I knew it was going to put me on the chopping block, right? For
Mhm.
trying to expose this person so they wouldn't be able to come into my sector and be around people that, and be able to get a foothold in a place that I didn't think they should. And for some of the words they said out of their mouth was completely uncalled for.
Okay.
Um, some really racist, just terrible stuff. And so I called them out on it, right? And I fell down a rabbit hole. And this person then doxed my entire family, myself, bothered my child, made up heinous lies, called ex neighbors that I don't never really were cool with like that. And then my son's 18 now; he can't do it anymore, but he sure tried. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But when that it's up and stuck for life. Like the only reason I went to the authorities about it, the only reason I didn't get to take out the papers because he called the wrong cell phone number. And
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you when it comes to something like that, and then they start bothering your real life, real life,
Mhm.
and they start using government agencies and things to try to come after you, you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself at that point. Whether it be get a restraining order, whether it be go to the grand jury because they do have stronger, harsher penalties nowadays. Let me say this to everybody for stalking, harassment online, and they
Mm.
will take it in front of a grand jury. But they have to make credible threats and or contact you offline.
And this
Um,
is all behind issues starting online that then trickles over to your
mhm.
real life.
And the thing
Wow.
is, I never bothered their family, them, or took it real life. They took it real life with me
Dang. Okay.
over words and their own words, showing videos of their own words online.
This is why I say, honey, y'all better mind y'all manners online and talk to folk like y'all got some sense. Because it's 2026. Laws are catching up. Things are changing to include how you portray and act online. Listen, mind your manners, people. It's just that simple. And I am so sorry that even happened to you, Charlie. Now, I heard MGO say that she knows about that as well because that happened to you. How did you handle that?
Um, I had to also kind of seek legal support. So in my case, it was online, but it was due to my role as a federal appointee on an
Ah.
advisory panel and people who had conflicting views with myself and some of the other individuals who were in this group. And this was a nonpartisan group. So it wasn't about politics, but it was simply about our perspectives and our roles
Mm-hmm.
with regard to certain health conditions and so forth. So unfortunately, kind of some of the same things Charlie mentioned. Um, False CPS calls, so they're showing up at children's schools and things of that nature. They did attempt to dox me. Fortunately, in several states, if you've been a victim of a violent crime, the you are typically allowed by the state to obscure your address, just like elected officials and like judges and police
Mm-hmm.
officers and can opt to. So fortunately, only our properties that we own that are rented, like you can't your any of your resident rental properties are not included in that. It's only your primary residence. So while people could find residences that we owned, it wasn't fortunately our home, but they made efforts to and other things. So calling, employers and trying to make false claims. It's just really, really ugly stuff that had to be handled legally. And then, so I had a few years of a break from that. And then recently, I think just last year, actually, here on YouTube, some miserable individuals tried similar things with regard to like, making, slanderous comments and just I actually retained legal counsel for that too, and pursued it
Wow.
for a while, and then I just dropped it because I was like, you know what, these people, this is a civil matter, things of, defamation. I was like, these people have nothing. Like, why am I wasting my time? I was really just trying to make an example of them, to leave people alone, to not, cyberbully people and harass them, and to clear my name. But I was like, anyone who really knows me and my work knows that these claims are false. If they were to believe anything from these four individuals who, have, very questionable character, then believe
Yeah.
it. So I just dropped it. But and I ended up being, I was down $10,000 as a result of their foolishness. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So now I just kind of feel like I'm at a point where it's just, block and ignore. And
Yeah.
I'm in a stand your ground state. So if you do happen to find my residence, say hello to my little friend. you know
Okay. Say hello to my little friend. All right. I am so sorry that that happened to you. I am so sorry that happened to Charlie. Listen. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure you are okay, your family is okay, your stuff is all right. You just gotta make sure you're just in a better position because unfortunately, some people feel like they're the big dog on campus when it comes to online because in their real life, they're just a little tadpole in a big pond. That's it.
Well,
So I
you
also
know, being
understand.
online,
Go ahead, baby. I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Sam. I was going to say being online, being public,
Hmm.
um, you tend to draw so many people and so many different mindsets. And a lot of bigger content creators actually had to move several times because
Mm.
of the harassments, um, and the money that they were making and the places that they lived at. So it's a give and take. One, you helping people that need you, and
Hmm.
then there's the other half of people who don't want to see you be successful. You know what I'm saying?
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
And sometimes knowing that people don't want to see you be successful at the end of the day, that can be hurtful.
Hmm.
However, that same hurt, you can then kind of use that as motivation and fuel to just keep going. Because you may not think I'm successful. Guess what? I can show you better than I can tell you. So I
Yeah,
no
but
shade.
but but
I don't mind people. I don't mind people that don't believe in me, you or anybody else. If they talk down. I say my piece of advice, honey, take that, put that in your gas tank, and turn it up, and just be successful. That way, they will then have to go back and eat their words.
well,
Because
when you push the
what does
live button,
Beyonce
you
say?
already became. When you push the
What's
live button, you already became a success. You did what you wanted to do.
mm-hmm.
You exceeded your goal at that moment.
Very true.
And now you reached another goal that you're trying to reach. So you already became successful doing what you wanted to do.
That's very true. Very, very true. And what's
Yeah.
that
I
line
like that.
Beyonce says?
Being
The best revenge is your
this is
paper.
your paper. Amen.
Okay. So, child, let people talk. And that's online in real life. And that applies to everybody. When people talk down on you, people say, oh, you ain't this, you ain't got this. That's fine. Because I feel like a lot of people, they forget where they come from. And I believe it's a scripture that even says, despise not your humble beginning. So let's not all forget that at some point in time in our life, we all had to start at the starting line. The race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but it's given to the one that can actually endure to the end. So for any and everybody, let that stuff roll off your back, put a smile on your face, and keep it moving. Okay? Which now is
I
going to
like
lead
that.
us into the next topic. It was goals, passions, and dreams. So, MGO, when you hear goals, passions, and dreams, what do you think of?
I think of the opportunity to try to live one's passions and make it tangible in this world somehow, which is
Hmm.
something that I've tried to do, and that I encourage people to do as much as they can, in whatever way that it works, that they can fit it into their lives.
Okay. Okay. Do you think Do you think that goals and because I saw a question, I forgot where I saw this online, and it was so good. They asked the question. They said, "Do you think that goals and dreams are the same thing?
I don't, but I think that you can, they can be, they complement one another. So you
Okay.
can have a dream and you can set short term, medium term and long term goals to achieve that dream. Similarly, you can turn your so I'm sorry, you can use goals to help you achieve your dream, and then your dream kind of can help fuel goals. So I'm not saying this very well, but I don't think they're the same, because I think a dream is like an, kind of an ideology, or an aspiration, whereas goals are something that are are kind of, like I think about the whole SMART analogy, strategic, measurable, attainable, I forgot what the other R is for, realistic and time bound. So things that you can measure and plan for. And, like, so the way the goals are kind of like the mini steps, the way that they're the kind of operational or functional way that you do things. They're almost like the recipe, I guess, whereas the dream is the meal itself.
Okay. You said the smart analogy. Isn't it like what is it? Jesus Christ. I was reading up on this a couple months ago, like smart, no, specific,
Yes,
measurable,
thank you. It was specific. I said
attainable.
strategic. Yeah, measurable. And I feel
I
like
think it's what realistic and
time bound.
time bound. I think is what the last one
Yes.
was.
And then there's some
Okay.
other acronyms that people use for other things. Some people prefer not to use SMART, and they have some other, you know, um, you know, concepts that people use, but basically it's to find a way. It's like if someone says that their goal is they want to improve their credit score, right?
Hmm.
So they can't just say, "Oh, I'm at a 600 and I want to be at an, a 750 or an 800." You have to figure out, how are you going to do that? Like, what are the ways that you're going to make that happen? And, so that you know what to do next. Or if a person is saying, I want to, become healthier, and so you
Okay.
try to figure out, what do you mean by that? Is it about the way you eat? Is it about working out? Is it, and even already talking about physiological health, emotional health, spiritual health, like, so kind of defining that thing and moving it forward. Like, I feel like, people, we have goals for all types of different things in life, but I feel like, to be human, we have to have some kind of dream, be it a small dream, a big dream, and we have to find some way to pursue that dream. If that dream is that you love music and you do it on your own time, you're not, maybe you're not trying to be some type of award winning, international artist, but maybe it's just
Hmm.
you love performing locally, or, for yourself or your family, or you love painting or writing or whatever. I just feel like people should be, yes, you got to pay your bills, you got to do the day-to-day stuff, take care of yourself and your family. But if you don't find some type of way to devote some time and energy to the thing that fuels you, that is your dream, that you care about, I feel like you're kind of slowly dying inside.
Hmm. I like that. I really do. What about you, Charlie?
To me, they can be similar or go together, like, right, dreams, passions, and goals, right? So you can have a dream of owning your own home one day,
Right.
and you're passionate about what you want that home to look like.
Hmm.
But the goal, right? You're going to set goals to be able to reach those dreams. You're going to be able to, the passion is the emotion to it, right? The emotional side of it. The dreams are the aspirations. So you may not get the exact dream home that you wanted, and you got to be realistic about it, right? Your dream home is this big, huge mansion sky. Well, some people don't have big mansion money. That's a dream, right? It can be unrealistic at times, but you still dream of owning a home. It may not be the exact one you may necessarily dreamed of, and you're passionate about, how I'm going to live in this home, how I'm going to be, who am, and then the realistic side of it, like
Hmm.
MGO said, is going to be how you set the goals to save that money for that home. How do you take the steps to get to that?
Okay. Okay. I like that. What about you, soul sister?
Well, I used to set my goals 5 years apart, and every time I would meet that milestone, I would have another 5 year goal. So
Hmm.
I reached it up until the time that um, I retired, and that was my end goal at that time. So the next goal is to how do I live the way I want to live after
Hmm.
retirement. So I'm right there now of trying to figure out what I want to do after retirement. I know the way I want to live. I just haven't figured out yet how I'm going to get there just yet.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
I definitely get what you're saying. Definitely get
Mhm.
that. So now let me ask you all this, right? In a male dominated society, as a woman, how do you plan to achieve whatever goals, passions, or dreams that you have?
So let's equate the male driven, right? So a
Hmm.
lot of I'm a gamer,
Okay.
and a lot of gamer girls actually get I'm using this as an analogy, get a lot of flack for being,
Hmm.
let's say my dream was to be number one in a specific video game, let's say Arc Raiders, and to be up there at the top on the leaderboard. um there's always going to be a pushback, always. If your goal is to be CEO as a woman, or president, or any of those things, or even a doctor, there's always going to be pushback, because
Hmm.
we are women. Whether they think we're not good enough or qualified enough because we are women, but we have to work twice as hard, sometimes three times as hard, to show that we're more
Agreed.
than qualified. And is it
Agreed.
okay? No, but it's the world that we live in.
Wow. I I could not agree with that statement more. It unfortunately it is the world that we live in. And that's why I think about what's this song? Anything you can do, I can do better.
And I can do
Uh
anything better than you. No, you
no
can't.
you
Yes, you
can't.
can.
Yes I can.
See,
Right.
I see things a little differently
Okay.
because I'm older.
Thank you,
So
Tamara.
I see a world of possibilities for women
Okay.
that never existed when I was reaching my first womanhood. I had to make my own world exist because it wasn't out there. Nothing I wanted to do was already done. So I had to do it. So today it's already done. It's out there. It's laid out. The floor plan, the blueprint is out there. Whatever you want to do, you're able to do. I don't care what it is. But, I had to make my way. I never seen myself as just because I'm a woman, I'm going to do this way. Or just
Mhm.
because I'm a black woman, I had to do things that way. I always saw this spirit inside of me that said, this is what I want to do, so I'm going to do it. I don't really care what anybody think I'm going to do it. I mean, I've
Right.
been in rooms where I forgot I was the only black girl. I was the only black person. I was like giving speeches, and I didn't even think about me being the only black human being in this, conference room, because I didn't see myself like being the only one. I saw myself as this is what I want to do. This is what I want to say. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to make my livelihood. So I never seen myself like that. So if you stop looking at yourself as a woman or a woman of
Mhm.
color and just start looking at your soul and your spirit, those doors are open to you because they never was closed to me, ever. I've never had a door closed to me. I was the first woman in my school to take up computers,
Mhm.
not computer um, data, building computers.
Mhm.
And I got sick the first 3 days of school. I caught a flu. And the instructor says to me, you're not going to be able to pass this class. You missed 3 days. I said, are you going to give me my money back? He says, no. I said, that I'm not leaving. I passed with a 4.0. It's
Oh,
not
wow.
whether you're a girl or not. You have to feel your spirit and let that lead you. Let your soul lead you where you want to go. Look outside your body, your being, because we all have the same things inside of us.
Oh, I couldn't
We
agree more. Can
all
I can I
suffer.
do a clap? Oof.
Right. That was really good.
Because I'm gonna say this, I want to agree with Soul Sister, because here's the thing: don't ever let being a woman stop you from doing nothing. Right? We may have to work twice as hard. We may have to put more work in. We may have to prove ourselves in some fields. Right? But don't ever let it stop you from doing what you want to do.
True. Very, very true. Thank you so much, Soul Sister, for that. I really enjoyed that. MGA, what are your thoughts about that?
Just building on what these two ladies said, I think that this kind of highlights the importance of mentoring other, young women coming up behind
Mhm.
us, because there's, even if, and I've heard people say, like, what can I say? What can I advise? I don't, like I was talking to a student, for example. She was like, I'm just a sophomore in college. I don't know anything. I said, you can mentor this little girl in high school who doesn't think she can make it in college or make it to college, or a middle schooler. Like, there's something we can, how they say, each one teach one. There's something we can do to encourage or provide support for someone else that's coming, or maybe people who are at our own level. Just kind
Mhm.
of how encouraging it is to see somebody up there doing the thing, making the way. I know that, growing up, like, to me, learning about like powerful women and the things that they had done, was just so inspiring for me. Reading about Coretta Scott King and Sojourner Truth
Mhm.
and Florence Nightingale and Shirley Chisholm and all these different people. My mom, she wanted to double, she majored in nursing, and she wanted to double major in, what was then called, Afro studies, I think, or and they didn't
Okay.
know, at the college she went to, they didn't allow double majors. So she was like, well, can I still take these classes as electives? And she said,
Oh.
sure. So she had all these books growing up, and it was just so, for me, it was so inspiring to see the pictures of all these women and learn about what they went through, what they experienced, and what they accomplished despite the hardships. And
Mhm.
it was something that was motivating to me, because discrimination does exist. Wage
Yeah.
disparities do exist. These things, we do face these things. They aren't unavoidable, but we can still set our goals, and we can still fight like hell to make these things happen for ourselves, and to try to, you know increase representation and visibility for other people, so they too can want to do the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, I'm glad Yvonne asked this question. So, Arnwa, what does it being in a man's world have to do with setting your own identified goals?
Oh,
Um,
Cheroksee's here.
is she? Where's she? Hey, boo! I didn't even see her down here. Hey, love, you want to come on up? Let me know if you want to come up, hun. Um, but I am glad Yvonne asked that question because my next question to that was going to be for the wives and the mothers. Do you find yourself putting your dreams, goals, and passions aside to be 100% available for your spouse and your family?
I can say that I did.
Okay.
I have a child who has cerebral palsy, and I was the
Oh,
only
wow.
parent. I was in college, gonna 4 years for a bachelor's degree in
Okay.
social work. Um, I realized that I will say this: trying to take care of other people while trying to take care of yourself and trying to do these things. Sometimes for some people, it's a hardship and it can be too much on you mentally. And sometimes you have to do what's best mentally to make sure that you can continue to do the things that you're doing, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes physical disabilities get in the way. There's many different things, but I will say that my son has
Hmm.
always will come first in my life before anything. Now, I've seen these badass moms who go to jobs and then go to school and do it. I don't know how they do it. I call them superwomen. And I'm pretty sure Miss MGO is a superwoman, and I feel Soul Sister is a superwoman. But
Absolutely.
I'm babies. I can't be on y'all's level. I love
I think
y'all,
you're a
but y'all
superwoman
are
too,
amazing.
because
Y'all are amazing.
I
Yes.
think you're a superwoman too, because you said, look, this is my priority. This is my baby.
Yep.
This is what I'm focusing on. And so I feel like that it should be applauded, because that is something
Absolutely.
that's no
Absolutely.
small feat at all.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
Absolutely.
Not at all. Like that. I commend you, ladies, especially you mothers and wives that are, raising children, having families, and still pushing, having careers, reaching goals and milestones. I tip my hat off to y'all. I do.
Now,
Because I
I don't have
know it's not easy. It can't be easy. I know
I
it
don't
isn't.
have
What were
any
you saying, Soul Sister?
I don't have any children, but my husband put my goals first. So I was very fortunate.
Really?
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good man.
That's
I had a,
amazing.
I had a dream. That's all I had, ladies. It's nothing but a dream. The first time I seen something, I dreamt what I wanted and where I wanted
Oh,
to go. And he just said, okay. And that's the way our whole life was. He let me have my dream
oh,
and
I
stood
love that.
beside me. I
I
mean, it
love
wasn't
it.
easy because he is a guy, right?
Hmm.
He's a
So
good man, though. I'll tell you
He
that.
he
is.
got on
I
my
will say that.
he
Shout
got
out
on
to
my
the men
nerves,
who
but
uplift they women, because my dad did that for my mother. She wanted to be a CNA. He stayed back. He quit his job, and became stay at home dad, so my mom could go to school and go to work.
Okay.
And
Charity.
It's me, RMY.
All
shout out to
right.
those men who are
Hey.
not or what do you call that?
absolutely.
What's the
Oh,
word I'm looking for?
absolutely.
You know, when a man uplifts his woman, but he don't let it bother his manhood. When he's that kind of man, where like it don't matter what anybody else says. If his woman wants to do it and she makes more money, he's like,
Oh, I
"Go
love
ahead,
those
baby."
type.
I
I
love
love
those
those
kind of
type.
men. Them men right there, they're securing
They're
themselves.
securing themselves and they're securing their manhood. Welcome to the stage, Charity.
Hey,
Hey, Boo.
Charity Boo.
Thank you so much
Hey
for joining
y'all.
us. Thank you
Thank
so much.
y'all. Thank you for having me up, RMY. I'm sorry
No,
I
you're
seem so
welcome.
antsy. I'm mothering right now and
See,
getting
I was
dinner
about to
together and
say
everything.
she being a mama right now while doing her
listen,
dishes and doing what she got to do as a wife.
that's what I'm saying. I commend you women that have children. One child, I can understand. One child is enough, but then you have multiples. I
I'm
commend
telling you, them
y'all.
women are
Because
super good.
ain't
I'm
no
telling you.
way in the world.
I don't know how my mama did it. She had three, and one of them was special needs, and she went to school, and she was a CNA on top of that. And she was going for the
Listen,
RN. I'm like, oh Jesus, and
this is why women rock.
I
I'm sorry. Women are the best. To me, they are the best because women are the only ones that can carry a child for up to 9 months, some maybe 10, all while still working, running a household, going to school, chasing a career. Like women, y'all are amazing. So shout out to all of y'all. How was your day, Charity Boo?
My day has been good. Just doing the normal things, going grocery shopping, getting these kids ready, prep everything for tomorrow. And back on what Charlie was saying too,
Hmm.
a man who doesn't mind his woman being successful is just a man. You know what I mean? Like he's
Okay.
just being a man. And I commend men that don't get jealous of their women.
Oh God, I hate a jealous man with a passion.
I can't stand it. I can't
Hate it
stand
with a
it.
passion.
But yeah, it is to your question, RY. It is
Hmm.
hard. It can be challenging trying to balance everything and still knowing who you are as a person. And that's why I'm an advocate for therapy. Go to therapy and talk it
Okay.
out with somebody where it's safe. But it can be very, very challenging not losing yourself in the titles, all those
Exactly.
titles, all those titles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some women, when they take on the title of wife and mother, I feel like some women, not all, so let me preface it by saying not all, but I feel like some women, when they take on the title of wife and mother, they begin to lose themselves because their main focus is making sure my family is straight. And it reminds me of those times, as a kid coming up, your parents always made sure you looked the best and you smelled the best and you presented the best because I don't know about y'all, but my mama used to always tell us, when you step outside that door,
You're
you
a
you're
represent
a
representation of
me.
representation
me.
of. Yep.
Hmm.
So, like women that kind of push themselves to the back to make sure their family is a great representation of them, make sure the family is straight, they want for nothing. I commend y'all because that to me is a selfless act because I also know some mothers and some wives that don't care about nobody else but themselves. I don't understand how that works, but it
Oh no, you
happens.
know what grinds my gears? What grinds my
What?
gears? When you see that woman who is dressed down to the tens,
Oh,
has the
and then a
newest clothes, and
child.
a child is walking around in some holy, nasty, dirty clothes,
I can't
dirty
stand that.
pamper. I'm gonna tell you something. That's the best way to get my butt. Cause say I'm the mom that steps back. I'm the person that step back to make sure my family. And when I see that, oh, it bothers me something serious
Absolutely.
because in my mind, children should always be, above you. Like my
Always.
child got before his needs and wants way before I ever did, baby. I would have been wearing holy socks, holy shoes. It don't matter as long as my baby is okay. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And see, this is another topic that I'd like to broach to you one day for you to bring up,
Hmm.
RMY, is there's always been this debate of should it be the children first or the husband first.
Girl,
Um,
Charlie, can you stay out my notes for next week, please? Because I
I,
was going to talk about that too.
that's always been that's been a debate that's been going around for a long time. So I can't wait to join that conversation because
Oh
trust me,
yes.
I got a lot of opinions.
Listen,
Um,
and that was in my notes for next week because I was watching something on. When I tell y'all, if y'all were to look through the history of stuff I watch on YouTube, it's ridiculous. I watch some of the craziest stuff, but it really makes me think. And I was watching a panel, and they were debating who comes first, the man or the child. I'm like, are we really sitting up here having this discussion right now? So I wrote that down as one of the topics that I want to put on the poll for next week. Charlie, stay out of my notes, okay? I appreciate it. Now, Yvonne said, when obtaining my master's degree, first and foremost, Yvonne, kudos to you. Any woman that has a degree, whether it's a certificate, an associate, a master's, whatever you got, I tip my hat off to all of you ladies. When obtaining my master's degree, I worked full time and went to school full time. Thank God my daughter was a young adult. Don't know if I could have done it with young children. Listen, so my sister, the one that made me an auntie first, my sister has three kids, two girls and a boy. The oldest, I don't even know how old she is. Thir- she about to be 13. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, she about to be 13. The second is 11 and her baby boy is 5. My sister has been working on going to school for the longest. And her husband finally said, "Look, now, come on. You keep talking how you want to go to school, you want to do this, you want to be a nurse. So do what you need to do, and I will make sure that I do everything within my power to make sure I go to work, make sure I take care of this household, pay all the bills while you do your mother thing and you go to school because that seems to be a priority for you." She just passed her NCLEX. And now she's working on becoming like whatever the next level of a nurse is. I don't know all of that.
Go
So
ahead, sis. Go ahead.
yes. And then I have another sister. She's also in medical school. And she has two boys. So I see the daily grind and the daily hustle
I'm gonna
of
tell you that was
being
my
a mother
major.
and going to school. You said
Before
that
I
was your major?
switched, I was going for RN. And let me tell you something, it is not the easiest. That's why I ended up switching. I tried to take like a dummy. I ended up failing out of school because I did this. My son was 4 years old at the time. I was homeschooling on top of that. Him taking care of him, household, everything. And I tried to take microbiology, AMP2, and college algebra all in the same semester, only online.
Oh yeah, you crazy.
I should have never tried to take that online. I'm gonna tell you, to anybody that can hear within listeners, I preach this because I know it happened to me. Don't take it online, baby. Go into class. It's gonna be a lot easier, especially those three. Those three are hard. Like the easier
Yeah.
classes like speech or English, those were easy for me to take online. The easier prerequisites. But the ones like the math, the college algebra, the
Hmm.
microbiology, and the AMP2, because you have to know the insertion and origin of every single muscle in the human body. Do you know how many that is and how many insertion and origins there are? And you
Listen,
got to
honey,
memorize it.
y'all can have all that. I'm a numbers girl. Math was always my favorite thing. So all the microbiomes, y'all can have all of that. I hate science with a passion. Hate it, okay? Hate it. I'm a
So
math and a
shout out to
government
both
type
of
of
your
person.
sisters because that
Yes.
was not easy. That was not
No.
easy. Shout
Because
out to them.
I can call them and ask them a basic question. And before you know it, they throwing out all these medical terms. I'm just like, hold on. I ain't call you for this. I just called to ask you how you was doing. I don't care about all that scientific stuff. Child. Now, Kimberly Black said something in the chat, and I tried to jot it down because I don't know where it went. She said something like, dreams are like a vision board. And when I read that, I absolutely love that comment. And then if I can kind of add on to it, I like it because I feel like dreams are like a vision board, but your passion is like the fuel that you need to reach your goal. So that's why I feel like they all kind of work together. Does that make sense? Or am I just making that up?
Oh
Yes. No,
no,
no.
that absolutely makes sense.
Um,
Yes.
Yeah, if I can interrupt, I found the comment. Dreams are like
Yes.
vision boards. You can visually plan and develop strategies to obtain the dream slash vision board and goals.
Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't find that comment. Exactly. Coming back up from a different device. Okay, baby, I got you right here. Charity. Nurse, but I don't know. To Royal, I don't know. Listen, I don't know none of that stuff. I just know she went to school and passed that MCLEX, and now she work at some emergency room. I don't know.
Good for
I
her.
just know she a nurse. That's
Yeah,
all
my
I know.
mother is a retired cardiovascular nurse, and so it's an important
Mm.
field. Like there's such a need, you know what I mean? And so I'm just, I'm glad that she did what she needed to do, and that her husband was supportive. Because I
Yes.
think that, to the earlier question about sacrifice, I think that people definitely sacrifice. I think women sacrifice. Husbands can sacrifice too. Like I know my husband has definitely made sacrifices. There's ways he could be in a different place in his career or have relocated
Hmm.
things that he because he had a wife and children, and you don't just say, oh, okay, I want this opportunity, I'm going to up and move my
Right.
family across the country,
Yeah.
when they're settled somewhere. But I have definitely made sacrifices, as a wife and as a mother. I got into Cambridge, for example, and I had to turn it
Oh.
down because I couldn't go to another country and leave my small children behind for my husband to care for by himself for years. You know what I mean? It just wasn't going to
Yeah.
happen. And so I would have loved to have gone and I couldn't go, and so things like that happen. Even like when my children were younger, there was a period where I had to stop working altogether and just stay home because they needed all these different therapies and this and the other. And it just wasn't feasible.
Okay.
But when I finally started, but one thing I'm grateful for is when I started to pursue some of my dreams of, writing and public speaking, my husband was like, baby, I got these kids. Yeah, I am like, go catch that plane, go do what you need to do. You know what I mean? And he had my back. He was my biggest cheerleader, and it allowed me to, even though there are certain things obviously that I had to turn down or things I couldn't do, he gave me the freedom to be able to pursue the things that I wanted to do. And even now, like, my nonprofit, when I decided that I wanted to, it was a passion that instead of doing it on the side and working as a professor, I wanted to kind of do it full time and then just have my other, work in, my in academia be part time. He was like, let's do this.
Hmm.
And so I think that, but I think that there's some instances where, like if someone's a single parent or, whatever, different situations where maybe there isn't someone to have your back and you have to figure out how to make it work. And the ingenuity of women, you know what I mean, to me is something that's so has always impressed me. Like women, we just know how to do the damn thing. We just
We
make things
do.
happen.
We
Yeah.
do. And that is one thing that I love about being a woman. Honey, we have a way of just getting it done. Even when we don't feel like it, we still get it done. Still get it
I
done.
think the most important thing or the most successful thing is
Hmm.
when you got two people, a man and a female, who find each other and complement each other and could motivate each other. Along the line, there might be someone inside of that relationship who has more power than the next one, but it still complements each other. I think that is the most sexiest thing ever. Whether it's a man or woman or woman and man or man and man,
Hmm.
either one, whatever couple you are, I think it's so incredibly enticing to see that.
I can agree with that. Now, let me ask you ladies this, right? I just forgot my question just that fast. Because MGO said something and it was very, very interesting.
It was.
I really just forgot what I was getting ready to say.
I was thinking about my comment because of her and her husband. I mean, I could just see them both working together. And that's how I got my comment out. It was just like incredible to know that he has her back and she has his back. And at the same time, they both had children to take care of
Y'all should
and being
see when I got
accepted
my
for
doctorate,
changes.
and there's a part where you do a little thanks in the front of
Hmm.
it. And my mother said, are you really going to put that in there? Because I had this whole paragraph gushing about that man. Okay.
Oh, that is
And I
so
said,
sweet.
I sure am. I sure am putting it in there.
Oh, that is so
See, that's what
sweet.
I'm saying.
I love it. I absolutely love that. So when it comes to pursuing your goals, whatever the goal may be, right? How important is it to know you have the backing of a spouse or your family? Or do you feel like you can continue to go on with whatever it is that you want to pursue while knowing that they may not have your best interest or they're not pushing you to the magnitude that you want them to push you at?
Did Charity go first? Because I know that you weren't able to join us in the beginning. I'd love to hear your
Yes,
thoughts.
Charity.
If you don't mind going first, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how important it is pretty much to have a spouse that supports you, right?
Hmm.
Extremely important. I think that like the lady, I wasn't near my phone, but like this lady was saying before, just to have someone who compliments you and it's a true partnership, um, it's everything. It I can say this, it saves my mental health.
Okay.
It helps save my mental health because if I had someone that was always in opposition with me and I had to do uh, partnership with them and I had to do relationship with them, I'm sure I
Hmm.
would be miserable. You know what I mean? But to have someone come into your life and not only, I'm trying to see how to put this, and y'all know I'm shocked too why she didn't put me on the spot now. but to have somebody come into your life and not only say like, hey, I believe in your dream, but I'm actually going to be there to support you through your dream. So if you need me to watch the kids while you write this paper at night, if you need me to bathe the kids and you need me to clean up the kitchen because I know you need to rest tonight, like meet me where I am. Um, if I
Meet
didn't
me
have
where
that,
I
I don't.
am.
Yeah, if I didn't have that, I don't think that marriage would last long. You know what I mean? I just I can't be enemies with a person or in competition with the person that I'm meant to do my life with. I refuse to do that. So
Say that one more
it's
time.
extreme. I can't be enemies with the person who I'm going to do life with. And we both just, it feels like, that feels like a prison, right? Like a prison sentence. Wanting to
I
do
Yeah,
it
it is.
cannot
together.
be enemies with the person I am doing life with.
Yeah.
Listen, that thing just struck a chord with me. I like that. Ooh, I cannot
I've
be
been,
enemies with the person I'm doing life with.
I will say I've been on
Jeez.
both sides of that coin, right? I now have someone who supports me in all things that I choose to do. At
Okay.
one time, previously though, I had someone who did nothing but drag me down, and it was all about them. I've been
I've
on
Mm,
been
both
there
sides.
too. So I feel
So
you.
I will say that it is a lot easier in life to have people who uplift you and help you through a situation. Because if you're trying to do it on your own, all on your own, no help, nothing but pushback, it's 30 times harder and you will most likely fail at what you're trying
mm,
to do. Now, some women still prevail and some people still prevail, but it makes it 50 times harder. Vice versa, when you have that uplifting person behind you and all that, it makes it 20 times easier to be able to reach those goals and those dreams and those aspirations. So I would say that I'm with Charity, and I'm pretty sure the other women probably agree with the statement that we want somebody that's going to uplift us in that, and you become extremely grateful for your partner versus the person who, if they, let's say, are that previous type I was talking about, you're going to resent them when you fail. It's going to turn love into hate real fast. It's going to cause a problem.
okay. Wow. Hey,
Well, this
Jasmine.
is how
Welcome back,
this is
baby.
how I found out. This is how what made me fall in love with my husband.
Hmm.
It's it was the little things that he did. Like I always had bad PMS, just really awful, and I was really awful as I was having it. But he always made sure that I had everything I needed in front of me and near me, so he can get lost.
Well, hold on. Say that again.
So he could go
In
get
other words,
lost.
he made sure that I had all the pads I needed and tampons and the medicine and the ice cream and the cookies and the candy and the food and a this and a da and the remote control and everything else in my room so he can close that door and get lost.
There you
Exactly.
go. Yes.
Exactly.
Leave me
He said, you
alone.
ain't gonna ask me nothing. He go everything you need right
He
here.
knew to throw the
Everything
snacks
you
and
need is
run
right here.
away.
You ain't gotta do nothing. Just don't go downstairs.
Miss Soul Sister, why did I have the idea that he's like, okay, you know how like they have all the snacks and the good stuff, they just push it at you and they just slowly back out of the room.
That is too funny.
And the other thing is, when you, I don't know about anybody else, but when I had PMS, everything he did for the last 28 days is what made me go off on him. You know,
Breathe.
like breathing.
You just you just breathe wrong. Did you just look at me the wrong way?
You
Stop
won't touch me,
breathing.
Daddy? Are you kidding
Mm,
Stop
mm,
breathing. Why are you
mm.
breathing like that?
me? I don't like
So,
you. I don't like your mama. I don't like your brother. I don't like your sister.
oh, you had it real bad.
I
Oh
had
Jeez.
it.
God, I had it really
I
awful.
didn't.
Yeah, I
I
did.
had the pain and the anemia. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
hubby would make sure that I ate more iron during that time. Trying to make sure I got rest allowed me to get the rest. I take the shot now. Thank you, Jesus. I ain't had one in a while, but I've had those rough ones. But yeah, he knows if I'm in one of my moods, just give me the candy and walk away.
That's it. Don't say nothing. Just give it to me and leave. That's all I need you to do. Okay. So now let me ask you all
So
this, because we got a few more minutes to share this. Another topic that I put on my poll was vulnerability. Do you all feel like it's hard to be vulnerable?
Yes.
Why?
So I don't know if you guys like. Do y'all like Brene Brown or listen to
Renee?
Brene
Oh,
Brown?
her work is amazing. I love her
Oh
research.
my
Uh,
God. So she's a researcher on shame and guilt, right? But she specializes in
oh,
like shame. And she talks about in her book, she talks about vulnerability and the word, like the word that it comes from is vulner, which means to wound or to be wounded. And so essentially, if I'm vulnerable with you, I'm allowing myself to be wounded, like expecting to be wounded.
and
And
what's
so
her name?
her name is Brene Brown.
She look
She's a
like Martha
researcher.
Stewart.
She's yeah,
Yeah.
she belongs. She's
Yep.
a researcher
Yes.
at a University
Uh
of
huh.
Houston.
She
Yeah,
looked
she's
just
done
like
some.
Martha Stewart. I have
Yes.
Yeah,
found her
she's done
YouTube
some work
channel.
with Tarana Burke and some other people too. She's
Really?
oh yeah.
She's
Oh
like the
yeah.
Martha Stewart of shame. Like, you know
And
what I
she
mean? Like
looks
to
just
describe
like
it.
Martha Stewart. So I just found
Yeah.
her YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch her tonight. Thank y'all.
She's awesome. And like when I think about that, I'm having a almost like to me, I think like being vulnerable is like being naked in front of someone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm willing to do that with everybody. Or at least let me think twice before I take my clothes off. You know what I mean?
No, I get
Um,
it. Trust me.
I don't think you can be that way with everyone. I think you need to be wise and use discernment before you open up in that way. But yeah, yeah, that's all I got on that one.
Okay. What about you, MGL?
I think this is an important question because I think that I've learned a lot in my life. I think that a lot of my work initially was me being extremely vulnerable because I had spent so much of my life very closed up and private. And when I decided that I wanted to, delve more into advocacy, I didn't really provide many boundaries for myself. So I did a lot of writing, a lot of public speaking, where I just poured my heart out about, trauma and abuse that I'd suffered, about, surviving intimate partner violence, about, mental health, things, and just so much. Like I was a completely open book and shared a lot about my life in a very emotive way. And I think it it definitely uh, allowed me to have an impact and to mm, it opened doors, but I also feel like there's an element of just nakedness in that, where you've invited so many people into your story, into the things that you've been through, where almost people feel entitled to that window into your life and to your, and I think that people need to keep something back for themselves, for their own mental health, and and to just kind of be selective about how you're vulnerable and who you're vulnerable with. Sometimes, as opposed to just, it doesn't mean that you reject the element of being open with people and genuine with people, but maybe restrict kind of like some of that really deep, raw vulnerability for select, intimate people in your life.
Okay.
Can I
Okay.
piggyback off of MGO?
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
I agree with her 100% because here's the thing. Um, my vulnerability comes at different times in different situations. It may come to the surface faster, and with other people, it may take longer. Like even my husband to see me cry for the first time. It took him forever because here's the thing. I've always been, I have to be the strong one. I have to be the one that holds everything together. You know, being a single mom,
Yeah.
special needs child, and going through a very seriously abusive relationship before and being single for 10 years, I became a wall, right?
Mhm.
No emotion. But then I find myself being extremely vulnerable with people like during this situation when we're talking about certain things, right? I let certain things out. And when I'm talking to someone else about mental health and I'm like
Mhm.
trying to save a life, I am almost 100% vulnerable and sometimes to my detriment. And that's where what I think MGO was talking about is like when you're trying to help someone else and it becomes from a place of goodness and you're trying to save their life, you are willing to literally be extremely like bare bones, show everything, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes that can be to your detriment if you're trying to help everybody, right? But with the like people that, normal people, right?
Mhm.
It takes a quite a bit to see the vulnerable side of me because I put on that front, right? I put on that mask. I don't. I'm with Charity when she said it makes you feel naked to literally be 100% vulnerable and let yourself do that, right? Even here, I'm being a little bit more vulnerable because we know where we're at, right?
Exactly.
And so we're letting things and saying things sometimes that might make us a little bit vulnerable. But here, I'm doing it because maybe someone else can relate. Maybe somebody else feels the way that I feel or have been through some of those things and it might help them. So I'm willing to be vulnerable and put myself in that position to help someone else.
And that was the
And
whole
it's a
purpose of
comfortable
me trying to
atmosphere on top of
create this
that.
space. Yeah, that was the whole purpose of me
Yeah.
trying to create this space of girl talk because, like you said, Charlie, we understand the space that we're in. And so these type of conversations, they aren't normal if you're not being called a bag of bitches or anything like that. And then plus it's so I don't want to say female driven, but it's so female driven to the point where it's masculine at some point. And it is just like, I'm good. I'll just keep all of this to myself. That's why I wanted to create this space over here so we can come and we can talk and, kind of, because I feel like sometimes therapy isn't always going to go lay on somebody's couch and be like, oh my God, woe is me. What do I need to do? Sometimes therapy is just talking amongst your good girlfriends or your good buddies and just venting. And for me, being vulnerable is something I despise. I despise it because I don't need anybody to know the very thing that makes me go tick tick boom. I don't need anybody to know that I'm doubting myself a little bit on something. And it's crazy because when I tell you I read and research some of the dumbest stuff that most people don't even discuss. But I have been reading up on vulnerability versus imposter syndrome. And listen, when I tell you, it gets good. It gets good. And for those that don't know what imposter syndrome is, all that simply is one that is I'm trying to see how I can not dumb it down, but just like wrap it up.
It's essentially feeling like you don't belong in the
You don't
spaces where
belong.
you've
Yes,
earned, or like at any moment someone could say, oh well, you shouldn't be in this position or this job or
yes.
have this view
You
because
don't
you
have the
are kind of,
ability.
even though you do have it.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's a thank you so much. I couldn't find a way to like break that all the way down. But I've been reading up on that and it's tough. It's tough to be vulnerable, like Charity said. It's like to be, naked. And I don't know. I'm vulnerable on the stupid things, but like anything major, get out my face. You don't need to know that. But I could be behind, like I could be in my room having a complete breakdown, because I'm feeling like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe I'm not designed to fit into this space over here. But then somebody can call me and be like, well, what's wrong with you? I can't tell them what's wrong because to me, I feel like that's being vulnerable. I don't like people in my business.
Well,
I
see,
like to struggle. I don't want to say struggle alone, but I like to try to work stuff out on my own without having to talk to somebody about
somebody
it.
else. I'm the same way. And what I was meaning, uprise by, not uprise, I think it was too royal, um,
Hmm.
with showing empathy and being vulnerable. I've allowed that side in very few spaces, right? Very, very few places.
Hmm.
And let people say that. I mean, and there is a side of my vulnerability that you will never see. It took my husband years to see me cry. I'm not the type of person that you're going to see. Like, you won't know when I'm angry most of the time. You won't know when I'm hurting, and all these things because I mask it, right? I mask it. You won't know. If I had just got done ugly crying, you know, 20 minutes before this live started, you wouldn't have known because I would
Oh
have sucked
no.
it up and did my business and do what I had to do because I made a commitment, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so it took him a long time to see that side of me because I'm like, y'all, with Charity saying it makes you feel naked. And I believe that certain side of you, that side of you, should be saved, like MGO said, for the people who deserve it, the people who are closest to you. Now, there's a certain vulnerability we all take to do, even being here and telling some of our stories or the things that we've been through, right? And we're allowing ourselves to share, sometimes more than we would share normally, right? But there's
Right.
different sides to vulnerability. And I agree with what you were saying too, Royal. There is a huge difference between that. And sometimes when I'm empathetic to someone, I am more willing to be more vulnerable with them than I would to someone that I'm not as empathetic to, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And that's why, I'm a huge mental health advocate. And please, don't be afraid of therapy, y'all. I'm just saying it's a good thing. It helps you. It makes you learn yourself. You learn so much about yourself. I promise you.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that because when I was coming up, therapy wasn't the thing to do.
That's
Right.
another topic, RNY.
It is. It
Because
is.
think about how many people are shamed out of therapy.
Absolutely. See, but I didn't do therapy because of my religious upbringing. Oh, before you go seek therapy, get on your knees and pray about it. The Lord will fix it. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But I can pray till I'm blue in the face, but I still have this problem,
Yes,
or
and
I'm
God
that's why I'm
gave you
glad
the
that
dealing with this
sense.
issue.
they have therapists now who kind of integrate faith and best practice in terms of psychology, and I think that help. I think there's definitely a market for that. People who would have wanted to seek help, but they couldn't for various reasons. Maybe they didn't feel like it would properly fit into their life because of the way that they were raised.
Absolutely. And
Also,
I did
good
not know that there
therapy.
were therapists that were faith based until maybe 2019. Because I was at work, I'll never forget, and I was just scrolling through the EAP website that we have. I'm like, okay, well, let me see what type of therapist is here. And I just saw a whole bunch of faith-based therapists. I said, this is a real thing. I had no idea.
Can I give a
No idea.
little thing? God
Mhm.
gave you sense, right, to read a book. He gave you a sense to go talk to a therapist. He gave you sense to get out the storm if you know a tornado's coming at you. So use that
Okay.
sense that God gave you to help yourself because that's what he tells us to do. He gave us
Listen,
free will, baby.
The
exactly.
other good thing about therapy is writing your journal. I used to do that
I'm
all the
glad you brought
time.
that up.
And
I'm glad you
during
brought
the
that up because
years,
I kept saying I
I
want to
would
get into journaling.
it will during the years as you look back, you will see the emotions that you went through while you
Hmm.
were going through them and how much you've grown since that last time and how you don't feel the same feelings that you did 3 years before. And if you have a bad dream constantly, I used to always have the same dream. I wrote it out after the 20th time and it stopped. So a lot of times writing what's inside your head is a very good therapy. For me to go to therapy and speak to someone, my story is not going to be any different than what she already heard.
That's true.
I'm only going to get the same information she gives out all the time. Talk to this person, work this person, da da da. I'm not
Hmm.
paying for that. I'm paying for you to be a miracle worker. Fix me.
Right.
Give me a
Exactly.
pill. I don't care what it is. Fix me. That's what I'm paying you for. I don't need you to listen to me. Fix me. So that's just my cookie way of saying, I'd rather do journals. Um,
Exactly. And
then
Yvonne
I
made a
want to
very good
piggyback
point.
on that too,
That's
Arwen.
also no problem. Yvonne said that's also the black culture, unfortunately. And I agree with you, Yvonne. And let me tell you why I am so glad you put that in the chat. See, because here we go, talking about vulnerability, right? I was
That a lot of us
watching
heard growing up. That's white people stuff, like
exact.
mental health
Oh,
stuff.
my grandmama used to say therapy. Go get you a water and some Robitussin and lay down and tell God about it. Like
How was
what?
Robitussin always the thing?
Robitussin fixed everything for
Tussin
people
to
back
fix
then.
everything.
So, but speaking about vulnerability, and I know
wait a
this is
minute,
a
wait a minute.
women's
I gotta,
panel.
I gotta say this
Uh,
part. Wait a
Go
minute, I
ahead,
gotta
Bo.
say this part. The
Go ahead,
reason
Bo.
why people were afraid of therapy,
Hmm.
psychiatrists, because in the 17th century, 18th century, they would take women who were going through the phase of life, change of
Hmm.
life, and stick them in a mental institution, and they would have a botany done on them. They will always find a way to stick women in some institution and call it therapy.
That is
So
true.
we grew up thinking
Wow.
therapy, we don't know what they're going to do to us. So that's how everyone became frightful of the word therapy.
Yeah, they put them in those sanatoriums. They always said that
Yes, they did. And they get
they would take
horrible,
their children
horrible
away from
experience
them.
on them.
Yeah, say that they were
Exactly.
hysterical and weak and so forth.
Oh, I'm gonna have
Exactly.
to research
It was
that.
weaponized
Interesting.
against them. Mental health, the mental health field, unfortunately, has a history of harming a lot of people who are multiply marginalized under the guise of curing or helping them,
Hmm.
and so therefore a lot of people were uncomfortable opening up. Why would you say that? You're just dealing with a period of anxiety or depression. It could be postpartum depression, and now you find yourself locked up, and
Absolutely.
it's so for a
Wow.
lot of people it just, or some of the practices haven't been affirming or address or solutions oriented, kind of like what Soul Sister was saying. If depending on the school of thought of the therapist, if they are just really, if someone wants someone that's more proactive and is going to kind of give them suggestions of things that they can do to change, as opposed to an approach where maybe they're just allowing you to vent. So that can be discouraging for some people. Sometimes the therapy is not a right match for a person. So I definitely am advocate for people to look into all different options, and that I think therapy can be helpful, but there also therapy harm is also a very real thing that people have experienced,
Wow.
and doing things like journaling, exercise, prayer, like doing a number of things, kind of taking an eclectic approach might work.
Hmm.
For some people, they
Taking
just aren't
vacations all
comfortable.
the time by yourself is a good therapy. Getting away
Yeah, there's
from
lots of
everybody and
different
everything.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good therapy.
But
But
speaking about vulnerability, right before, and I know this is a women's panel, but right before I was about to go live, about maybe 45 minutes before, I was actually watching Club Shay Shay's interview with who was it? Michael Beasley. I think he was like an NBA player. And what broke me was he was talking about how even after the NBA, he had to sleep outside. And then Club Shay Shay, not Club, Shannon Sharp asked Michael Beasley a question and said, if I can speak to that little boy inside of you, what is it that you wanted? And when I tell you, Michael Beasley had me doing an ugly cry because his response was, I just want to be heard. That's it. And to see a 6'9" grown tail man that played NBA start sitting on that man couch and start crying because he just wants to be heard. Like first and foremost, that is a level of vulnerability that I don't think I could ever display. Because this interview was just what 3 or 4 days ago, and it's already over a million views. So a million people done sat there and saw that man cry. Talk about him being brought up as a child. and how the only thing he wanted was to be heard, and nobody heard him. He said, "Stop assuming," or no, he said, "Stop telling me what I mean. Just listen to what I'm saying." That right there is a level of vulnerability that I don't think I would ever be able to reach. Ever. Because you know how much he had to walk around, or how long he had to walk around with that type of weight on him, and for him to sit down in front of a camera crew and Shannon Sharp and say that, there's no way in the world I could ever be that vulnerable. So to hear a grown man say something like that just completely broke me down. Hey Leslie, welcome baby. The exposure, oh, what is this? Hold on. The exposure of Willowbrook is what caused many of the institutions to find. I'm really going to have to look this up because that was actually very, very interesting.
That's
I
a
did not know.
Yeah,
that's a
there were some
huge thing.
points being made in the book about like those various different mental institutions in Willowbrook, and it's just a lot of harm was done to a lot of people, and so when people in the Black community or people who are for different reasons related to faith or whatever have skepticism about some of these practices, it isn't because there's justification for some of those concerns.
Exactly. Exactly. And Yvonne said that's what's so satisfying about my work. Members sharing, I appreciate you listening and supporting me. I do not refer to them as clients. And that right there, not referring to them as clients to me says a lot. That means it's no longer about, okay, I know I'm going to get paid from this. It's more of a human thing, like, tell me what's wrong. I'm really listening to you. So I appreciate you not referring to them as clients. Shout out to you. But some people, they really just want to be heard. And then I also feel like that as women, right, sometimes we hold back that vulnerability card because in the eyes of society, it's the woman is the one that holds everything together. A woman can never break. Without the woman, where would the family be? Without the
And
woman,
that's
where
why
would the
we end
man
up
be?
dying young because
Exactly.
we internalize all of these
Yeah,
things
but
and it
I
impacts
think
our health.
being vulnerable, showing your vulnerability, is an
Hmm.
asset, really, because it lets people know you're human. It lets people know that you have feelings. It lets people know that you're not perfect. I mean, I show mine all the time. I don't have a problem with it. With my family or my friends or
Hmm.
anybody that I'm in contact with, I'll let my sleeve go down because that's who I am. I don't have that pride inside of me that says I'm I'm this person that never breaks down.
Hmm.
I don't have that in me. I am gonna break down every now and then. I am gonna cry every now and then. And I'm gonna cry to anybody who's listening every now and then.
Yeah.
Um, it's called being human. And God made us human. He didn't make us super beings. He didn't make us in this world to only help ourselves.
Hmm.
And being vulnerable, like I have a sister that has a lot of pride, right? And I'm always fussing with her to let her know you're not superwoman. And she thinks she's not. I think she tries to be, but she's not. She's human. And in the end, the only thing that matters is what God thinks of us, not what anybody else thinks of us. So if
That's
somebody see
very
you
true.
cry, what are they gonna do? Call you a crybaby? Big deal. They're gonna make fun of you? Big deal.
That's very
So
true.
being vulnerable is being human. Being prideful is being something else, something that's you're trying to be, but not made to be.
I
I will say
think.
that I'm
Go ahead.
prideful. I'm very prideful, and it comes down to like asking for help. Right, that's one of the
Hmm.
hardest things for me to do. My husband actually had to teach me that. I went 37 years without asking anybody for anything. That I could always do it myself. That I could figure it out no matter what's going on. Because the one time I tried to humble myself and actually ask for help, I was basically spit in the face.
Mm.
Right. So one year I asked Angel Tree for help. It was the year my ex left, and that one year My son has cerebral palsy, so he can't ride a bike. Guess what? The only thing he got from them was, and I'm not grateful for it because I still he got a Mr. Potato Head, which he could play with, which he was happy about,
Mhm.
and a bike that he can't ride. And it was in I put it in the paperwork that he has cerebral palsy, and the things I was asking for wasn't crazy. It was peg puzzles to help with his therapy, and you can
Mhm.
get them at the Dollar Tree. You know what I'm saying? Little dollar stuff.
Um,
I wasn't trying to be picky or anything because I knew I was in a bad position at that moment. But that was the one time I lowered my pride to ask for help. And
Only
after
to not
that,
even be respected enough to get what you needed, to where it's like something
yeah,
that was already hard for you to
that's
do. And
crazy.
then they weren't even mindful enough to have the volunteers read it, and they're just assembly line. Oh boy, 8 years old,
yeah.
boom, throw this here. And
Exactly.
so
So
that's not an incentive for a person who already struggles to ask for help to want to do it again.
after that, I refused and I started basically buying a little here, a little there, and putting it up, hiding it in the closet. You know how we hide stuff in the closet. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and so I never asked again, but um, my husband had to teach me to ask when you need something because I don't even ask when I need a hug or when I need a shoulder to cry on or things like that because I was so used to being the strong one, right? I think it
Mhm.
sometimes comes down to the strong one, the one that's always got it together. You got to be the because like let's say you're the child of the family that let's say your sister's irresponsible, your brothers, all of them, but you're the one that's always the responsible. You're always the dependable one. You're always
Mhm.
sometimes it comes down to how you're shaped as a child that makes you that way to be prideful, right? Because it's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's good either because it sometimes can be to your detriment when you don't need to be prideful, right? When you need to lower that because that year, if I had not have loaded, lowered my pride, he would have got nothing. You get what I'm saying? So I'm glad for what he did get, even if it wasn't much, right? But I had to swallow my pride on that because it wasn't for me. It was for my child. And I would do anything for him. And that's what pushed me out of my comfort zone. But being prideful can be a good and a bad thing, when you look at it on a scale because you're strong, you're independent, and let's say you lose your job tomorrow. Well, you're a hustler. You're going to go out there and get you another job because you're not going to let your pride see you down bad. But then at the same time, it can be to your detriment when you really do need help. You need a helping hand, someone to listen, someone to hug you, someone to say it's going to be okay.
And what's the saying that the young people say nowadays? What is it? Check on your strong friends. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes
They be
people
going
see
through it, baby.
they do, and people don't check on their strong friends because in the book of their mind, they got it all together. They don't need no help. Can't nothing ever penetrate them. They're strong.
They need
Even the strongest people need somebody to check on them every now and then. Something because if you keep taking and taking and taking, if I'm a strong friend and I'm pouring into you, when my cup is empty, who's going to pour back into me? So check on your strong friends, people. That's all. That's all. Nothing can beat love. No, I agree with that. No one can stand alone. They can't stand alone. However, in this society, the way people act, sometimes standing alone just seems like the easiest route. That way, you don't have to worry about if the person standing beside you is for you or not, if they're going to stab you in the back, whatever the case may be. So I agree. Sometimes standing alone is the best thing to do. That's just my
I don't know if
opinion.
I'm the only one that has this fantasy, but sometimes I often think of me being this little old lady in the woods, really deep in the woods somewhere. Well,
Mhm.
they got this one little hut house, and nobody else is around me, and and the groceries is delivered to me, so I don't have to go in town.
Oh, listen, I am a grocery delivery holic. Okay, I
So
make
we're gonna
Instacart come
start
to
a
my house
old
so
woman
many times.
community, all woman in the
Okay,
woods community.
listen, I
everybody,
will have
everybody spread
Instacart come
out
to
a
my
little
house in
bit.
a heartbeat.
That way
I
we can
am a
we,
big Amazon person. Bring me my Whole Foods order to me. 'Cause I don't want to have to go in there.
we can
So I
house a
get it.
woohoo.
I get it. Trust me, I do. I do. Well, we're about to go ahead and wrap this on up. Wow, 2 hours and 32 minutes doesn't even feel like it. Jesus Christ.
Oh, we leaving already?
I know,
Yeah.
right? We could keep
Oh
It
man,
going,
doesn't
baby.
feel it doesn't feel like
yeah.
it's been 2.5 hours. Jesus Christ. I just happened to
Let's
look.
talk about the next week segment that you was gonna go get. You just
Well,
have to think of something else for next week.
next
Yeah,
week I
bring next
do
week into
know.
now. What?
Next week I do know I want to one of the topics is the age old debate, who comes first, the man or the children. That has been a pressing matter. CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Service. Oh God. That listen, this right here, this statement right here, that just triggered me a little bit. Hold on. I don't even know where it went. This right here, that just triggered me a little bit. Cause I deal with that every day from 9 to 5. Okay.
What did
Ah,
it say? I didn't see it. What did it say?
CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. I deal with
Read up.
that every day.
I think
God.
Royal had a 20-year span of investigatory work.
Oh, wait a
Showed,
minute.
yeah. See, that's you got to read
A
that with it.
20-year span of investigatory work showed us so much and a lot of work in monitoring now. It has caused a huge financial impact in CMS. Listen, let's just say I I understand with that. Yeah, I have to agree with that. Hopefully things change, but we shall see. Because that is one thing. Yeah, mm, I keep my opinions about that to myself. But one topic that I did want to put on the poll for next week, as Charlie has already dipped into my notes, the age old debate.
Unintentionally. I'm telling you, our
Unintentionally,
brains are connected.
exactly. Unintentionally, the age old debate. Who comes first, the son, the children, or the husband? And I did kind of want to touch on mental health a little bit. That's going to be up there, and it's two more things I'm tossing up in the air. So we'll see. But I will definitely be putting up the poll by tomorrow evening. I would say tonight, but by tomorrow evening because I'm getting tired. So yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Like I can literally walk away from this conversation with a little piece of knowledge from each one of you ladies. And I think that's what this is really all about. Just coming here, bearing our souls as much as we want and walking away from it, feeling empowered a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and start giving final words. So sister, you can go first, my love.
This has been such a thrilling excitement for me to be on your
Oh,
panel,
thank
and
you.
it's a success.
Thank
I
you.
congratulate you on the way
I
you
appreciate
handled
it.
everything today. A real pro.
I
You go,
appreciate that
girl.
so much. Thank you. And I will be texting you this week.
Okay.
All right, Boo. Thank you so much for coming.
All right. Bye, ladies.
Bye bye.
Bye, beautiful soul, sister, go, sister.
Cheristy. Hey, Boo.
Hey. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to grace your stage. It's such an honor just
Absolutely.
to be up here with such intelligent, mindful, educated group of women. I love that. And I
Awesome.
love your show. I think
Thank
you're doing a
you.
great thing, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future. And
Aw.
I can't wait to this next show because that is, I'm already answering in my head. So keep doing your thing, RMY. I'm so happy
Thank
for you,
you.
and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
You are very welcome. And thank you for agreeing to come on up and be looking out for that poll. Okay, Boo?
And thank you for joining. I know you were handling up your mommy duties and
Yes.
everything, and you still came up. I just really appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Yes, thank
Absolutely.
y'all. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you ladies later.
All right, Boo. Thank you
All
for
right, Miss
coming.
Cheers. Emotional intelligence right there.
Exactly. Charlie.
I want to thank you for having me, RY. Again,
Absolutely.
another amazing girl talk.
Thank
I
you.
love it. I'm always having good conversations over here. I leave here knowing I just actually contributed something meaningful to the
Absolutely.
world. So thank you for that. And thank you, MGO, for all your amazing input. Because
Yes.
tell you something, I've been bouncing off you. I've been like, yes, yes, girl. Oh, look, one
Yes.
good, like I'm over here just preach to the choir. Girl. You don't see the church fan going up.
Ah, you're welcome, soul sister and Charlie. It has been a pleasure having you.
Oh,
I
thank you so much,
really,
Charlie. It was great to have
really
you.
enjoyed it.
Oh my
And
goodness, I
it's
think I just
so
lost
about
audio,
nine.
y'all. I see
Uh oh.
RY is talking, but I can't hear anything.
Uh
Oh my
oh.
Oh
She didn't hear my good compliment.
Wait, I hear you, but
Oh,
I
you
can't
hear
hear
me? You don't hear
RNY.
RY. Oh,
Oh,
so
okay.
Oh,
she
Well,
heard my
Charlie,
compliment.
You could tell her she can give her final words and tell her that I appreciate her for coming up.
Okay, so Miss RY told me to reiterate that you can say all those words and that she is so thankful that you came up because you're one of the most amazing panelists with the
Mm-hmm.
bestest of the bestest. I'm just saying,
Absolutely.
hand to God. And RY said, yes, amen.
y'all are so funny. I just thank you, RNY, for the opportunity to be here. And thank you, ladies. You were amazing panelists. And again, shout out to our birthday girl who I know wasn't able to join us, but I'm glad that you spent your
Yes.
time doing your thing. And also for the people in the chat, there were some really great points that people were making. Royal, Uprise, Kimberly, gosh, there were so many other Leslie. I apologize. There were other people who just kind of really made some great points. Lady Nika came by, grown
Hmm.
folks, and just others. Again, apologies. I think Yvonne was here as well. Apologies for the others that I might be missing your names. I'm just contributing to this conversation about just addressing, goals and dreams and passions and handling conflict and vulnerability. These are things that are just so important, and I'm just glad that we really have this space here where there's so much noise and effery on online, and sometimes we want it, but sometimes we also want to just kind of discuss some things that are really meaningful. And so I'm glad for the chance to be here. Looking forward to future girl talks and contributing to the dialogue in the chat and just hearing the gems that come from the different panelists. And thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming, Boo.
And before I leave, can I sing happy birthday to Dr.
I
Lashana
was
so
just
she'll
about
see
to
this
say yes because I
in the
saw you message.
replay?
Oh,
Because, she's
Yes,
going to catch the replay, and I want to make sure we celebrate her today. You know what I'm saying?
and I
absolutely.
don't even know her, but just as a fellow doctor, yeah, I'm for it.
She's
Yes,
amazing human
yes,
being,
she is.
inside and out. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Lashana. Happy birthday to you. I hope you have the best
Yay!
birthday, beautiful.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead
W-
and drop. Thank you for
All
having me,
right.
my
Thank you for
girl.
coming. Thank you so much. All right, ladies, we have reached the end of another successful girl talk. Today we kind of talked about handling conflict, goals, passions, and dreams, as well as vulnerability. Listen, I cannot thank y'all enough. Like, I appreciate you all so much for coming through and just hanging out with me. I understand that there was 50 million things going on YouTube today. I get it. It was so much happening. But you all definitely decided to come hang out with me tonight. So I appreciate it. Happy birthday to my big sis, Dr. Lashonia Roos Brown, honey. I love you. When you hear this replay, honey, just know that I love me some you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? Y'all wish my big sister a happy birthday. And it has been, thank you, MGO. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the panelists. MGO, Charity, Soul Sister, Charlie, everybody that came through, Lady Nika, Grown Folks, Yvonne, um, even Don Play was here. Everybody that contributed to the commentary, whether on the panel or in the chat, Uprise, Too Royal. Thank y'all so much because without y'all, there would be no Girl Talk. So, like I always say, make sure you love on yourself, but also go love on somebody else. All right? Y'all have a good evening. Bye.